The following show is brought to you by the CANUCKLEHEADS Broadcasting Company, eh? All right. And we are live.
Right on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the CANUCKLEHEADS Show. Episode 10, as a matter of fact. With myself, Frankie, from New West Reset.
And Chris over here at Old World Exploration.
So, welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, joining us here on this Sunday edition of the show, Sunday, March 3rd. Happy weekend to everybody. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's cold, at least here in the Rockies, in the Canadian Rockies, isn't it, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Minus 20 Celsius.
That's around minus 5 Fahrenheit, 5 below 0 Fahrenheit. That's not fun. We had both of us, we were talking behind the scenes before the show. We both had just come out of a nice little warm spell, and then bam, old man winter just came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, right. Just in time for spring.
Yeah, snow, wind, cold, ice, all the stuff you'd expect in Canada land in the winter there, eh?
Yeah.
So what else you got going on? How you been? You doing all right there, bud?
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I've been fairly busy this weekend. Did my radio show with Kairos yesterday and tried to introduce the topic of the old world to an audience that probably isn't all that familiar with it. So that was fun and interesting.
And it went quite smoothly from what I understand.
I think it did. I think Mr. Kairos is quite eloquent with the way that he conveys the information of this topic, and it was well conveyed.
Absolutely. And I'm a little partial myself, but you're no slouch either there, my friend.
Oh, stop. Just stop it.
So what do we got going on for the show here? We're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at Cambridge.
That Cambridge? Is it that Cambridge?
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Cambridge in Ontario land in Canada up here, eh? Over in Ontario. Cambridge, Ontario for episode 10 here. And got a little surprise, don't we, Chris?
We do. Excited about this.
Yeah, what's going on? Who we got somebody joining us? What's somebody reached out to you, no?
Yeah, a Cambridge local with eyes to see the old world has put together a file for us and joined us on this exploration. So it's first and hopefully not the last. Anyone who's local that has any ideas on places for us to check out, I'd be more than welcome the addition to the show.
Absolutely. I would agree 110%. I mean, I always say the more the merrier anyway. Mm-hmm. But with that said, when you get a local, either somebody who lives right in town or somebody just on the outskirts of wherever we're looking, or maybe, I don't know, spends weekends there or whatever, it's great because we can't be everywhere all at once as much as we'd love to. And all we can do, from our asses in our seats where we are in BC and Alberta here, Chris and myself respectively, is basically look on the goggle machine or on the interwebs. But when you get a local and somebody who, like Chris said, has got eyes to see, it's fantastic. So what do you say we quit blathering on about her and bring on our friend Ontario Explorer? What do you say?
Yeah, bring her in.
All right, here we go.
Hi.
Hello, Ontario. How are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
A little frosty, but not too bad. Thank you.
Well, that's good. I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. Now, we've chatted a little bit prior to the show, so it's nice chatting with you again. And if you could remind us and share with everybody watching, not only on Chris's channel, Old World Exploration, my channel, New West Reset, and over also on the Rumble for New West Reset, just give us a little bit about how you're acquainted with Cambridge, so on and so forth.
So I grew up in Cambridge, and my family still lives there, and so I go there quite often to visit. And when I saw the Knuckleheads episode on Charlottetown, you said you were going to do Cambridge, and I reached out because I thought I've thought for a long time that somebody should talk about all of the great old world buildings in Cambridge. So I reached out, I took some pictures, and I'm excited to share those with everybody.
Oh, got a little muffled there.
Oh, sorry.
There, that's
There you
better.
are. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a great file of some local pictures, and I'm really excited to share those with everybody today.
So you grew up there, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, so hopefully have some local hidden things that may not normally come up in an exploration like this.
Yeah. So, well, and that's kind of the whole idea with just in general, this sort of area of research, this community in general is obviously we take into account the official story, the narrative, but we like to, dig deeper and do a little bit of a deep dive on it and find all kinds of discrepancies or things that don't quite line up with the timeline or whatever the case may be. So,
Yeah, on Ontario Explorer, how long have you been questioning the conventional version of history? I'm just curious.
Probably for a couple of years. Yes.
And you figured your hometown was just riddled with this old world construction?
Yes, definitely. And there's some buildings that are quite obviously old world that when I started to question, I thought, oh, how did I ever think that the story could possibly be what they tell us it is? Once you see it, it's so obvious.
exactly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
No.
And I think a lot of people in the chat would agree with that. Speaking of which, let's say hi to everybody. Thanks everybody for being here, by the way. And thanks for joining us for the special episode. It's great to have Ontario Explorer here. So we've got George is in the box and Yotes as well. Hello. Mr. Beast fan. Howdy, howdy. Frutkiss. Howdy, good to see you. Oh, speaking of the feller, there he is. I am Kairos. Hello, hello. KT's here as well. KT746. Thanks for taking time out of your Sunday, everybody. Lisa Reen. Hello, hello. Old World, Michigan. That's Jeff. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. Space Indian? Hey, you can't say that. That's not, as Trudeau would say, it's not politically correct. Don't get into a fight with Old World Mi'kmaq now. Kwe Nidap. Good to see you, Old World Mi'kmaq. Welcome, everybody. Johnny Cool is here as well. Heidi's in the box. Hello, Heidi. Hello, hello. It's great to have everybody. Thanks. I hope everybody's doing well and having better weather than how's your weather, by the way, Ontario Explorer?
It was a little bit rainy today and foggy, but warmer than where you are.
Rain.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
You just had to come and rub that in, didn't you? Rain. I
We
wish.
had that cold. We've had it.
Oh yeah, Ontario is no stranger to cold, especially the area we're going to be talking about today too, right around the Great Lakes. And it's windy, cold, a lot of moisture in the air. So wow, it's a kick in the pants. Put it that way.
Yeah,
definitely a kick in the pants. So let's what do you say we give the folks here a little bit of a peekaboo, at least of the area that we're talking about, so they know what's what. Again, a reminder, because Canada is former member of the British Commonwealth, as it were. We've got to have all kinds of city, town, area, county, or whatever names that are also British sounding names because we just got that British heritage under our belts, I guess. So let me just pull it up on the Goggle Maps here. Hopefully everybody can see that okay.
Yep.
So we were talking about this area. Now I've lost it.
Down
Dang
to the
it.
left. Down and to the left.
There we go. There we go. It's so big. Like Ontario is a huge province, by the way, right? So it's so big, it's easy to lose. But right in this area here,
Yeah.
Cambridge, right outside of sort of Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Brantford sort of area, just west of Hamilton. Beautiful part of the country, real close to the Great Lakes here.
We have covered Hamilton on this channel, by the way.
Yeah, well, you've covered this on your channel, Chris. You've covered a lot of this area, the US, Canada, like basically all of this North American region, because it's a very fascinating part of the country.
It's old world for sure, riddled with the old world. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So let's pull it up on the Wikipedia. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Truth. There's only truth on that thing.
We like taking the piss out of Wikipedia, don't we? Cambridge, Ontario, the Tri-Cities. Oh, man. Here we go. Amateur hours already in full swing. There we go. So Cambridge is a city in the regional municipality of Waterloo, Ontario, over in Canada land, located at the confluence of the Grand and Speed Rivers. Good sized population, right just under 150,000 in 2021. Along with Kitchener and Waterloo, Cambridge is one of the 3 core cities of Canada's 10th largest metropolitan area. But they basically formed it in the early 70s by putting together 3 towns. Well, 4 actually, if you include Blair. And they basically didn't ask anybody, hey, do you want to all join up? They just did it. People were like, wait, what? Thanks for asking. So the cities and towns were Galt, Ontario. And links for this in the description below, by the way. Town of Preston, Hespeler, and Blair. So each have sort of similar backstories, but kind of individual, unique little tales that they've linked to each one of these cities and towns. But it's whether you look into the history of each individually, or if you just look at Cambridge as a whole, it's very picturesque, very beautiful, and there's a lot of wacky stuff going on. And I think to this day, Ontario Explorer, is it true that if you find out, let's say you're traveling somewhere, I don't know, let's say in Toronto, shopping or something, or I don't know what you're doing there, visiting your auntie or something, and you bump into somebody from Cambridge, ultimately the people will still ask, oh, where? Are you from Galt? Are you from Hespeler? I understand that's kind of still a thing. So that's kind of pretty funny that, it's going as far back as 1973. Everything was amalgamated, but people still sort of differentiate different parts of the country. So that's very interesting. What's going on here? What are you doing there, Ontario Explorer?
She cut out. She didn't like your line of questioning. I think that's what it was.
Wouldn't be the first time people didn't like my line of questioning.
What was the question?
To this day, if you bump into somebody and you find out they're from Cambridge, ultimately the question is asked, oh, where in Cambridge? What part? Galt, Hespeler, Preston? Is this correct?
Yes, that's a very important question. There is still resistance from some of the little, what used to be the former towns. So, for example, Hespeler still has their own Santa Claus parade. We have there's one Cambridge Santa Claus parade, and Hespeler then has their own.
Huh.
Yes, they are still fairly independent.
Yeah, the amalgamation is much more recent than I would have thought. That 1970s. That's interesting.
Yeah, normally we see stuff like that maybe around the turn of the last century. maybe 1900 or like maybe when your region becomes a province and joined a confederation, although Ontario would have been much earlier than out west here. But, then they take a bunch of little towns that are a stone's throw away from each other and they just mash them together. But yeah, 73 is pretty late in the narrative for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a couple of funny little stories about Cambridge, by the way. Did you know that they're famous for their farmers market? That's right. That's kind of one of the many big claims to fame with Cambridge. And apparently, I didn't know this, and I'm originally an Easterner as well, and have been to Ontario many times. But apparently, this is Cambridge, Canada website, cambridge.ca, Parks Canada. Apparently, it's been in operation continuously since 1830. It's one of the oldest markets in Canada.
Interesting.
It's apparently it's right downtown. It's right near the old City Hall there in Cambridge. And again, they're referring to it as the Cambridge Farmers Market, but originally it would have been the Galt Farmers Market or whatever specific area it is. But I was like, wait a second, 1830 is pretty early on, not only by Canadian narrative, but even just North America in general. I know for the narrative, for example, out in the West, where Chris and I are, that the narrative in the 1830s was nothing here but Indigenous First Nations and some fur trappers and maybe some, stalwart explorers, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of neat because that's going way back, way back. What happened to our Ontario Explorer?
She popped back out. I'm sure she'll pop back in.
Hopefully, when I'm screen sharing, it doesn't kick her out. I don't think that's the case.
No, I don't think that's what happened. I think she's just trying to establish that.
Because we can have a whole schwack of people on here, eh? We can have like 6 or 8 people on at the same time.
Oh, yeah, on the StreamYard, you bet. Especially when you're paying for it.
Oh, and we're paying for it, aren't we?
Oh, we're paying for it. Yeah.
So Blair, I found, was really interesting because Blair was sort of a fairly successful industrious part of this area. And they still have an old, what they call the Blair Sheaves Tower, which was a tower for the mill that was there, the big grinding stone mill for, where they would grind up grains, mostly wheat. What was in that area? Wheat and oats and barley, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
This thing is still there. It's right on this little river or creek here, and it had the big wooden paddle wheel that would power the thing. So you get to Blair Creek, which used to be called Bowman Creek, and there's this picturesque, what they're calling picturesque, Blair Sheave Tower, just in the middle in the woods. Like if you didn't know it was there, you would never see it. But this very interesting old building with these sort of very church-like looking pointed arched windows in it. It's a wooden frame structure, but
nice looking. It's tapered as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, not an easy build, even out of wood framing, just the funny angle, right? But yeah,
and
Blair Village.
Stones. You got an embankment in the foreground there too, if you can see that.
Yeah, this here.
Yeah. Concrete topping, but stones,
this thing was, this thing basically was the main industry in the town, and it helped to boost the economy and bring in other industry.
Blair. Oh yeah, I see it here. I'm just looking at the map. So yeah, smaller section, hey, Blair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly along the creek. But this thing was up and running until 1954. It's like, huh. And it's 31 feet high. And then again, it's just out in the woods. You can't see it from any of the main roads. It's not like a lot of monuments or historical sites where you're driving along and you see it from the highway or the main road, and then you see signs or whatever. And this thing, again, if you didn't know it was there, you would just cruise right by. But I'll link for that in the description as well. I thought that was a really, really interesting sort of area around here with this big millstone water wheel up. Now the wheel is gone, but apparently you can still go and tour this thing. And I thought, very, very interesting.
I've never seen that before. That's really interesting.
Really? You've never seen the Blair Sheave Tower? It was they started painting it red, I think, pretty much right off the bat, right out of the gates. So that if you are, on the trail to get there, it's easier to see. But yeah, apparently it supported all kinds of industries and stuff with the local economy. So who knows? By the narrative, they say, had this thing not been erected and put into use, who knows what would have happened with the area. Now, I'm sure that area existed long before they built this goofy wooden tower, but that's just my opinion. Now, the other funny thing about this area is this Idlewild Park. Have you heard of this, Ontario Explorer? Idlewild Park?
No. Where is it?
It's right on the Speed River. In what is now Cambridge. The area used to be. It was a hunting club initially. At least that's what they say. In Preston.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull it up here. I've got something on the Wikipedia about it as well. But it says that Idlewild Park was a park located in the Speed River, what is now Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. It attracted people from across southwestern Ontario and the Golden Horseshoe via the Grand Trunk Railway and the Galt, Preston, and Hespeler Street Railway, which we'll get into here very shortly. But Idlewild fell between the town of Preston and the town of Hespeler, just north of where the McDonald Carrier Freeway crosses the river today. So this was a trolley park. Did you know that your hometown, Ontario Explorer, had a trolley park?
I do now, but I didn't before. I wonder if this is now called Riverside Park.
As far as I know, it's still called Idlewild Park, but it may be connected by another park.
Maybe.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's still listed as Idlewild Park. But the crazy thing is, it's not your typical what you would think of as trolley park. For example, let's say sort of equivalently out east in the United States, for example, where they had these big electric trolley parks with electric amusement park rides, and they'd be lit up at night. And it was to encourage people to use the trolley or streetcar system during the weekends, because most people use them during the week. But with this, it's more done Canadian style. It's done like the old Calgary trolley park, which is Bowness Park, which was basically the end of the line for the old Calgary streetcar. Same thing here, Idlewild Park. It was set up more as an outdoor park where you could go canoeing, fishing, hiking, picnicking. They had some cabins set up where if you wanted to stay the weekend, you could camp there. They had fire pits, barbecue pits. But they also did have electric out there, and they did have some basic rides, playground, picnic area, but also, your, what do they call them? The carousels, the horse merry-go-round rides and stuff like that. So yeah, it was opened in 1899 by the railway. And it was to, as mentioned, to stimulate rail travel during the weekends, that old story. It was accessed exclusively via the Preston Hespeler line, which opened the same year. Parkgoers were given ribbons to wear that identified them as patrons of the park and the rail line. So you had elms, maples, all kinds of evergreens. It was good for picnickers. And this was kind of a big deal. But then, of course, they decided, you know what? No, we can't afford it now because World War I is coming. So we got to shut it down. And basically now it's just a sort of a big open park area and a conservation area. There's
Mm-hmm.
no longer any of the attractions that there were from 1899 to 1916, which is a shame. I mean, it only ran 17 years, but apparently tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people used to come from all over the area to enjoy a Saturday or a Sunday in this place. And this was new to me. I had no idea that there were as many trolley parks in Canada as I've found out over the years here. It's really, really strange.
We're finding out they were everywhere, really.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, why would Canada be any different, and why would there be exceptions just because we have these arbitrary lines drawn in the sand on maps these days, right? In the old world, I don't think it was quite like that. I think a lot of the tech and the ideas were shared, and yeah, we would have seen a lot more trolley parks. But this was another new one to me, because this is an interurban electric railway system. So they had interurban streetcars or trolleys, but then also interurban, what we know as trains, passenger and cargo trains. In this tiny little corner of this tiny little region of these three tiny little towns that were squished together, I was like, wait, what? The Galt, Preston, and Hespeler Street Railway was an interurban electric street railway connecting three nearby communities of Galt, Preston, and later Hespeler. Really? No kidding, hence the name, I guess. In Waterloo County. The firm was organized in 1890 and operated in 1894. In 1908, it merged with the Preston and Berlin Street Railway with the new entity called the Berlin, Waterloo, Wellesley, and Lake Huron Railway Company. That's a mouthful. And then, as Chris and I were talking about before we went live, Berlin later, now known as Kitchener, Ontario. Because, you know, WW1 coming, and we can't use German names because now all of a sudden we don't like German people. Even though one of the major communities to immigrate to Canada from the quote-unquote old world were Germans. Funny that. Same as the U.S., right? Same goofy story about, all of a sudden now we can't use German names, so we got to change everything.
But we're still going to have Oktoberfest.
That's right.
Yeah, right? Good point. Stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid. But this was, I was just like, wait a second. Because we're told that, oh no, there weren't these massive interconnecting railway systems right off the bat. No, first there was these tiny little individual city or town or regional railway systems. And then eventually when the national cross-country system was put into place and built, whether it's Canada or the US, right? The Intercontinental Railway, for example. Well, then they started adding these smaller lines together and connecting them to the main line, but obviously not, because the more I dig into I mean, let's face it, anybody who knows Frankie for any amount of time knows I got a thing for old trains. So when I look into this and I keep finding these little interurban electric streetcar or electric railway systems that we're told, no, these didn't really exist. Not in any great capacity. Yeah. Obviously, au contraire, mon ami. Yeah. Au contraire.
And they just buried the rail lines too, because my mother remembers reading in the local paper about when they're redoing streets, they found the rails underneath the streets.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they often we hear about that, right? Is
paved right over them. Yeah, they pay a lot of these places. They just paved right over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear about they tore down a building or renovated a building and they find an older building underneath. But we also hear about, we had to rip up this road because a pipe burst, and we found an old road under it that had rail lines in it, and everybody had forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, that this existed, or people had forgotten that it was wider reaching or more expansive than we're told, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Beast says, we still have sauerkraut on our hot dogs.
It's good for the gut. Good for your gut flora.
Sausage.
Yeah, I saw, where is that? I saw something about in the chat too, something about sausage. I'm just scrolling up now because we got a sharp bunch in the chat here on our channel. We're really lucky with this show, you know.
Yeah.
We got some people with there it is, barbecued sausage.
Mhm.
Got some sharp tacks in the box and some good humor going. Absolutely. One last strange thing here I want to cover. And did you know that apparently in this area is one of the oldest businesses in Canada and one of the oldest businesses related to our national sport of hockey, or as the rest of the world likes to call it, ice hockey. In Canada, we just call it hockey Canada. But this is the hockeynews.com link in the description. Hockey's oldest business since 1847. Stick making factories have been around for the better part of 2 centuries in Canada.
Yeah.
Rouston's Hockey's is 175 years in the making. There's a picture of an old plow company. So stick making factories have been around for the better part of 2 centuries. What follows a short version of lengthy history that appeared in Hockey News, yada, yada. Okay. When you discuss the genesis of the hockey stick industry, you have to start in Ayr, Ontario, situated south and west, respectively, of the larger cities of Kitchener and Cambridge. The small town originated in, get this, 1824, with an initial population of just over a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Wow. Then all of a sudden they're making hockey sticks for everybody, I guess. Ayr originally was a trio of settlements, and virtually all of its initial settlers were Scottish tradesmen, farmers, and artisans, because the Scottish love hockey. Forget golf.
Well, similar. That's a similar game. Come on.
Sure, you whack around a thing with a stick. But instead of doing it on the beautiful rolling greens of the Highlands of Scotland, you got to do it over on the ice and snow over here in Canada, eh, bud?
You make do, right? You make do.
You can't find that white golf ball here. We got to get a black puck. So by 1847, the company known today as Roaston Hockey, full disclosure, Roaston Hockey is owned the owner and publisher of the Hockey News. Okay, so they're got an article about one of their financial contributors, but there's no conflict of interest. It's fine. It began as the Ayr Machinery Works division of the John Watson Manufacturing Company. It made farm implements, including mowing, threshing, and reaping tools, as well as plow handles, straw cutters, reapers, and stoves. But in 1882, the company was purchased by the Hilborn Company. As fate would have it, the new owner, William Hilborn, was a fan of the flourishing sport of hockey. So they went from making plows and farm equipment to making hockey sticks. Not a lot of... probably not a big job to swap out all the equipment, manufacturing machines in your factory, to go from steel plows to
Hockey sticks?
hockey sticks? I don't know. Just doesn't make any sense. But anyways, prior to the Hilborn's company's venture into stick making, hockey players made their own sticks. Well, the Mi'kmaq might have something to say about that. The oldest peoples in Canada, from what I can tell from my research, Canada's first peoples, First Nations, Native Indian, if you want to use a not so politically correct term. But Old World Mi'kmaq in the chat can definitely confirm this. They basically invented what we now call ice hockey, and they had been making hockey sticks, and professional NHL hockey players and amateur players and players in other leagues had preferred Mi'kmaq hockey sticks, since the late 1890s, early 1900s. So I don't know what they're on about here. But anyways, players would saw off a piece of hickory or alderwood, carve 3-foot sections, and file them into hockey stick shapes. Initial sticks closely resembled field hockey sticks. Later, blades got longer and squarer. Finally, the stick shaft extended. Pardon? Watch your language there. It's a family show.
Come on, Frankie. Come on.
Allowing players to play at a more upright body position. You got to keep your head up when you're on the ice there, kids.
Yeah.
But Hilborn changed the landscape, realizing his machine that shaped and molded plow handles could also create hockey sticks. One piece of rock elm wood generated 8 sticks. So he's just looking at his machine while it was cranking out plow handles and thought to himself, wait a second here now. I think a guy could invent hockey sticks. Translation, I think I could steal this idea from the Indians and do it myself. So established a robust stick market by 1910 with sales of thousands of dozens of sticks. By 1912, 1 dozen Hillborn hockey sticks cost $1.
It's a good deal.
They had exclusive orders for NHL players. In 1928, he produced the first spliced skater stick, allowing him to use other hardwoods. So they could basically keep the same shaft and swap out blades on the stick. Of course, then you got to have your flow chart timeline to show how everything unfolded. Sure. Oh, then the Great Depression. Oh. And unfortunately, it basically went belly up after that. But link in the description for that, because I found that to be, there's 2 narratives, I guess, with hockey sticks in Canada. One was that they were invented by the Mi'kmaq out of the Halifax / Dartmouth area of Nova Scotia and other eastern parts of North America. And apparently the other narrative is this plow factory decided he would make hockey sticks or something. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to a guy. So very interesting. Very strange. What was that? Sorry.
Hespeler also had the Cooper hockey stick factory too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's once again the usual, right? Once one factory pops up out of nowhere in some town or city, everybody's got to be like, well, looks like we better get our factory going over here. Hitch our wagon to the success of the economy of this little town.
Hey guys, I see some people in the chat asking about Ontario Explorer. So let's, for anyone new that's popped in, shall we introduce Ontario Explorer once more, Frankie?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm kind of done with my segment of the weird stuff here now. So yeah, thanks for joining here, everybody. The CANUCKLEHEADS Show, episode 10. Doing a deep dive in old Cambridge, Ontario, with our special guest, Ontario Explorer, who grew up in the area, right?
That's correct. And I reached out and took some pictures of some old world buildings in Cambridge, Ontario.
Yeah, you did some boots on the ground out there, your own self personally, photos and some video footage as well. Now, from what I understand, you no longer live right in the area, but you have family there, so you're there all the time. So
That's
all of
correct.
your photos and videos are quite current, like taken within the last few months. But then you also have photos that you've taken over the years as a kid and as a young adult, right?
So when I reached out and spoke about being part of the show, my brother and I went out and took the pictures I'm going to share with everybody today. So we have some really recent pictures.
Yeah, which is great because we've talked about this before. And if anybody's just joining, kind of the purpose of the show and why Chris and I put our heads together, these 2 knuckleheads that we are, is because we wanted to sort of learn as we go about exploring our own backyard, right? We get kind of so jaded, for lack of a better term, of, our own places that we live, and we get so excited about exploring other parts of the realm that we tend to put our own backyard on the back burner. So by doing this show, we sort of bring that front and center, and we learn as we go and present it to, all of our friends of both of our channels, so we can all learn together. And we're constantly astounded at the stuff that we stumble across and people share with us. And it's the same thing with your case. So it's just great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And I guess with that said, you know what? You've got quite a nice file of photos. So how about I quit goofing around and jaw-jacking and let you present what you've brought to the table, and let's everybody get your napkins and bibs and whatever you're going to use to wipe the drool from your chin, because
All right.
Ontario Explorer's got some good stuff. And then when she's presented her thing, then we'll take a quick break. And then, of course, our buddy Chris here, my co-host, is going to slam it home with the file that he's got as well.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what Ontario Explorer has for us first.
You're too modest. Take off, eh? Quit perpetuating the stereotype of the polite Canadian.
I apologize in advance. For
Sorry.
being Canadian.
Sorry.
Okay, so can you see the picture that I'm sharing?
Absolutely, we can. Beautiful old church.
All right, beautiful church. So this is downtown Preston, just off of the main street. It's a Catholic church, St. Clements Catholic Church, and it's beautiful. It looks like it used to have a steeple here that's been removed at the front, but this is the side.
We see that often, don't we, in our explorations?
Mm-hmm.
That's been decapitated, or I like to call it, it's been circumcised. maybe not the most politically correct term, but whatever.
So this is, I guess, where the priest must live.
Yeah, the vicar or
the side.
The preacher would live there. Yeah, beautiful place.
It's beautiful. And I can zoom in a little bit so you can see the brick.
Now, this is pretty typical for a lot of what we see realm-wide, whether it's here in North America or over in Europe or other parts of the world, where maybe the lower portion of the building, the foundation is some kind of stone or block, and then the upper rest of the building is brick, and then it's highlighted with stone. And it's beautifully done here.
Yes. This is the front. Beautiful rose window.
Yeah, fantastic. Headleyman, BC in the boxes. I lived in Hespeler for a while years ago. Look at that.
Oh.
Small world, small realm.
It is. This is the other side.
It's quite large. Even if you don't take into account the preacher's house that's attached to it, it's quite a large, beautiful church.
And then this is the back.
Even the residence that's attached to it, it was pretty big. Like, it's, aren't preachers supposed to be kind of modest means of living? I don't know. Seems like quite an expansive, almost estate home that the preacher lived in attached to that thing. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite large. And then this is now called Preston School Apartments. It used to be the school. The school's right beside it now.
Beautiful stone building.
Yes.
Pretty low windows there. I see they had to put some window wells around there to prevent moisture and snow and ice getting down in there. And again, for this part of the world, this part of Canada, don't forget, your build time. If they say it took 2 years to build something, you got to take winters out of there, at least until the outer portion is complete. They're not going to be doing a lot of construction when there's blowing snow and it's minus 20 Celsius, like minus 5, minus 10 Fahrenheit.
Can you zoom a little bit on that block work? It's really, really tight work. Yeah. Keep going. Till it gets blurry. Yeah, look at that. All different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, this is not standardized size stones here. This is, at least by the looks of it, multiple sizes and shapes that have to be, kind of tink, 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 chiseled and then fitted together.
Uh-oh.
It's Chris and I are having bad weather. It's cold. It's blowing. We've both recently had snow, and I'm sure Ontario explorers experienced the same thing as of late: snow and blowing wind and cold temperatures. What do they call that, Chris? The polar vortex?
Yeah, it might be a little bit of turdy censorship too. You never know up here in Canada these days.
Well, yeah, we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, heck, my stream got shut down about a third of the way in my Friday show that I do on my channel.
Huh.
I was
Interesting.
I was exploring old episodes of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show because they were showing how there was a couple of the stories, a couple of the episodes where they burned down old buildings in the cartoon. One of them was a hotel called the Alberta Hotel, which there was many hotels across Canada called the Alberta Hotel. And then they tied it into the whole Great Chicago Fire. But while I was sharing some of that info, YouTube shut my stream down, so I had to start a new one.
Interesting.
So yeah, you never know what's going on.
Well, they're
You
trying
never
to
know.
pass some
Right.
more legislation, sensory legislation up here in Canada. So who knows?
That's right. There she is. She's back, Ontario Explorer. Hello.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
It's once in a while this might happen. It could be interwebs thing or a weather related thing, or it could be that the powers who should not be are they're not enjoying what the rest of us are enjoying with your
Keeps kicking
photos.
me out.
We're gonna roll with it. We don't care. We just keep on moving
Yeah,
forward.
we're just gonna keep on trucking. That's what we do here on the Knucklehead Show.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try sharing again. I even connected I hotspotted from my phone because I thought maybe it was the internet before it was kicking me out. Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Uh-huh.
This off that beautiful stone former school, and you said that there's a modern school attached to it now, right?
There is a modern school attached right beside it now. Yes. Okay, so that's quite a large building.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is just there's so many houses that we could have taken pictures of, but we just took a few.
Don't be afraid to zoom in on some of these.
Yeah, get
if you
zoomy.
want
Get
to.
all zoomy for us, please do. Yeah.
Okay.
It really helps with the salivary glands for everybody in the chat. They'll just start drooling, and Chris and I will be drooling, and then pretty soon we're gonna have a mud flood of drool going over these lovely photos. I love the fact that it's snowy in your photos too. It
Yes.
really helps to drive home the point that, hey, some of this construction may have occurred during the colder months where they would have a real tough go of it.
Well, the weekend we went out to take these pictures, we had weather like you got right now. It was really cold and windy and snowy and blowy. So, but we braved the elements.
Yeah, you did. You braved them. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. This is a lovely old house.
It is. And you can look even in that window up at the top.
Kind of churchy looking, eh? What we would think of as, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like they built this sort of jut out over top of the main door, and it almost encroaches on the bottom of that window.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like this could have been a small town church, and then they just decided, no, it's a house.
Yeah, the front flat roof makes no sense. It's a terrible addition, the way that they put that together there.
Yeah.
Although they tried to make it look nice, it just doesn't work architecturally.
No. This building here.
Oh yeah, nice bricker with some stonage, I think.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the corner. Can you get to the corner for me, if you don't mind?
This corner here.
Yeah, you can see You keep going. It's like protruding, right? Do you see that on the to the left of the window? Yes. Yeah. It's like bricks, but they're bumped out. You see that?
Yeah. Instead of it being coining with stone.
Yeah.
They've just built the coining out with sections of brick. That's
interesting.
Quite unique.
Yeah. Don't know if I've seen that, honestly.
Goes all the way up.
Yeah. Yeah, someone says missing the covering Shepu said that. Yeah, maybe there was some sort of veneer over top of that to make it look like stone or something like that.
Could be. Yeah, I've shown that on my channel, boots on the ground buildings that I've looked at here in just in my immediate area in Calgary, and the what I call schmutz, like the sort of a thin set of some kind of concrete or whatever that they smear over the brick to make it look like stone is chipped away, and I've shown that it's brick underneath.
Is that the technical term, schmutz?
Yep, that's highly scientific terminology you need not concern yourself with.
Hey, I take your word for it. I'm taking your word.
Well, that's just silly. Silly, yes. Idiotic, yes.
Here's another one.
Mhm.
Is that brick or stone? That's brick,
Looks
isn't
like
it?
It's brick,
brick.
yeah. Yellow
But
brick
it's
this
that,
time?
yeah, it's that faded out brick. There's I kind of go along with this theory that comes from Caleb from Streets of Tartaria. Or at least that's where I first heard this theory. That when the brick has yellowed like that, it's older than the red brick. It's been exposed for a longer period of time to either what we're told is the UV rays from the sun, or perhaps was exposed to an earlier reset where it wasn't a mud flood. Initially, it was maybe some kind of heat or plasmic discharge that cooked out some stuff, melted some stuff, and it could have affected the color of the brick in a case like this.
This is strange. The door going out onto the rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple renovations for sure. A lot of these homes, right? You can
Oh,
see
that's not dangerous at all.
at least get a railing out there. You got to meet code. It's
I said,
gotta,
hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
yeah.
Watch that first step. It's a doozy.
There's another one.
I'm sure you build stuff like that all the time, Chris, where you just have a door on the second floor that you open and you just fall to your death.
You would not get an occupancy permit if you were building like that. The inspector would make you put a railing. Yeah.
Nice brickwork, though, over the windows and stuff,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely been looked after. Somebody cares about this old gal, which is nice, as opposed to just wrecking balling it or knocking it over.
There's another one.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple angles on that roof line. It's not exactly like you can whip that up in a month,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Got some
The
tech
gate.
along the top there with the ether fencing, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's just to duplicate an old world look or it is from that, hard to say.
Very ornate along the bottom of that roof line there, the coping and the...
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. The
Even if that's wood, it's very ornate, very nice.
I think we call those corbels along the cornice area. Technical
Okay.
terms for you. Yeah.
Kind of design in there.
Yeah. Is that brick then? Painted brick? Looks like it.
It looks like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they painted it white.
Interesting.
It's kind of a shame when they do that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's kind of camouflage a little bit.
I know a lot of times what they would have done in the past, I see a lot of it, again, here in Calgary in the older neighborhoods, was a house would be like this and it would be brick. And they'd covered it with wooden siding so they can paint the wooden siding, whatever the trends were, you know, in the Victorian era, the Edwardian era or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every, 4 to 6 years, they could repaint the house, yellow or burgundy or whatever, and whatever the latest trend was. And that they don't have to worry about damaging the brick underneath by painting directly on that brick, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, zoom in on the tower if you don't mind. Looks like we got a couple different colors and styles of brickwork there too. Yeah, good resolution on that. Go up.
Yeah,
Up
these are
to-
great photos.
Yeah. Oh,
Check that red part if you can get going higher.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. Kind of like carpet over hardwood. Yeah, you move into an old house or even an old apartment or something that was built, I don't know, in the 19 teens or 20s or 30s. And chances are, if you pull up a corner of the old crappy carpet, you're going to find some nice hardware underneath. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, even here, same thing. Yeah. We got someone in the chat saying not much brick in BC. That's true. There isn't all that much. Depends where you go, though.
Older parts of Vancouver,
Yeah.
Yaletown and Hastings, you see a lot of old brick buildings.
Yeah.
But Hastings is being destroyed. It has been for the last 10, 15 years. They're purposely doing to Hastings what they did to parts of New York and Detroit.
Stone in that area?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, I think there's brick additions that are perhaps more modern on an original older stone building.
Yeah, strange. Look drippy looking too. The mortar looks like maybe they tried to parge it or something. I don't know. Weird.
I think the official story of this area is that the stone buildings are slightly older, and then the brick buildings are a little bit more modern, but not much, like 40, 50 years.
That would be the story for sure. Yeah.
And then they may have built some brick additions on stone building. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. This is the side of the same church. It looks like part of it's been removed from the top, but you can see the windows.
Looks like there should be something above that door for sure. That's been decapitated, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Bernie.
Hey, Bernie. Mark, you be careful there, Mark. You be careful.
Yes, our friend Jabberoo Joe in the box says there's a lot of quote stoned unquote in the Hastings area. That's the thing, is they've made it. They've legalized hard drug use, open air. You can just sit out on the sidewalk and just shoot up as people walk by. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, BC's brutal. We've got a bunch of idiots at the helm. It's brutal.
And that's how they do it, right? They bring in, drugs generally, and by they, the powers who should not be. Get hooked on it, and then crime goes up, and the neighborhood property values go down, buildings become derelict and condemned. And they just leave it like that for years and years and years until finally, somebody comes in and goes, "Oh, these buildings aren't safe. We got to knock them down."
Yeah.
And they put up ugly condos, glass and concrete skyscrapers.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, look at this one. Interesting again. Look how that's put together. Wow.
I love the red brick, but there's also something about these old stone buildings that are quite fetching. They just catch a guy's eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting look for sure. Again, you're seeing a lot of this renovation over the years, right? You can tell that these houses have been lived in and kept up and altered, and
Yeah, some more modern tropes and conveniences. Sure, like I'm sure that upper veranda or porch or whatever you want to call it is not original.
Sure,
but it probably at some point did have that main floor porch, perhaps.
Yeah, well, something down below. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
People that in the evenings on a nice evening would sit outside, have a cup of tea,
spot of whiskey, possibly.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So you got the stonework down below here, down below that belly band, what you might call a belly band. Yeah, okay. Lower windows.
Yep.
All that snow on the ground really just helps to illustrate how dumb of an idea they try to tell us these lower windows are. Well, they put those in there before there was electric to let natural light in.
Yes, just for light. Yeah.
And then later on, they wire the building up with electric, and then they brick or block in all those windows because now they want a higher electric bill, I guess. Well, no, we don't need natural light now. Now we got electric, so we'll just pay like $50 a month to light the basement.
This is a beauty. Look at the curved corner, eh?
Ooh. Yeah.
Nice.
Look at that conical dome on top.
Difficult finishing job.
What is this? Oh, it's just my house. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a house.
It's got to be a landmark. They don't have a little sign out front or something like that. And this is
no, but it probably is one of those heritage homes.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
that's sort of highlighted. It kind of sticks out with the turret there for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how can it not be a Herodotome? I like under that front window on the main floor, it's got an arch above it. And then below that window, you can see a mudflood window. No, on just left, a
here,
little bit
this one?
left. No, the other direction. Your other left.
Here?
My left?
Both of them.
Yeah, underneath that window. See, like in the stone underneath,
Yeah,
beside
yeah.
the tree there. Yeah,
That's just a heat vent or something now. Who knows?
snow piled up against it. There's no problem with moisture getting in there at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some discoloration too in there, a little bit darker in the
Yeah.
corner. Water coming down, maybe. Ooh.
This,
Oh, wow.
now this is downtown Galt. This is the old Carnegie Library.
Oh, is it?
What? What?
This Carnegie fellow, is he a local gentleman or?
Nope.
Yeah, no, he liked it. He liked the library, so he wanted us all to be educated, and he wanted us all to read books. So
This is Galt.
This is Galt.
Galt never was a big city or town, even when they mashed it together with the other two
Look
or
at the
three towns.
look at the letters. You zoom into the letters. Galt. That looks like a 6-year-old put them together up there. Galt Public Library. You know, I'm surprised the R isn't backwards.
Got Phoenician shell.
It doesn't fit with the
top of
dental
the,
molding. No, it's ridiculous.
No.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
They're not aligned. You see what? Yeah, they're not like.
The spacing between the letters is all goofy. Yeah,
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenician shell up on the top of that, the peak there. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
on each of the three corners.
It's an amazing looking structure. This is a classic old worlder for sure. Yeah.
Fancy capitals on the pillars out front too. Yeah, this is a beauty for such a little place, you know, or what
What's it?
was a little place.
MCM 111. What is that? 1903.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Roman numeral.
Yes, 1903.
Yep.
Is that the same lettering as the library lettering up top? The MCM 111. Kind of looks plain, right? It looks plain compared to the decoration we're seeing all around it. That's what I'm seeing.
You know, Galt's, well, Cambridge in itself is way smaller than Calgary, but this Carnegie Library pretty much puts Calgary's to shame. I mean, Calgary's is beautiful. This thing is
I'm
crazy.
not sure what this building is now, but it's not the library anymore.
No. Must be some sort of museum or something, I assume.
Huh.
Or it's for sale, or the land beside it. See this for sale sign next to it?
Yes.
We should pool our money, Frankie, and buy that thing. Buy that sucker. Me and you.
Yeah, we could make it the Knuckleheads headquarters.
Yes, I like it.
We can make it our
we'll GoFundMe. We'll put a GoFundMe together.
Yeah. Until GoFundMe shuts it down and steals all the money.
Oh, and then freezes our bank accounts.
Oh, Trudeau doesn't do that. Come on. What are you talking about? You talk about the trucker thing? That didn't happen. Come on.
All right, what are we looking at?
Okay, so this, I think this is City Hall. It says post office, but this is not the old post office. That's another building. Yeah.
Yeah, zoom it if you don't mind. Let's get
Look at the top of that thing.
Yeah. Beauty. Ooh, that's an interesting little look. Those things on the corners there. Kind of unique.
Yeah, they're get these sort of vertical striations on them.
Yeah.
They resemble like, I don't know what, like cathodes or
Yeah, so interesting.
And then that rosary work along that band just above the clock there. It's really nice.
And the clocks are new, obviously, because they're numbers. Otherwise, they're usually Roman numerals, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's
Looking
check the
very
top.
aged and weathered and discolored too, though. Maybe some potential scorching or water staining or something going on with it.
Yeah. Copper top. It's beauty. She's a beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love this one. Really nice.
buildings downtown.
Hmm. Brick, painted brick again.
Hmm.
You can see some of the red brick poking through at the top there, underneath the windows.
Nice detail along the top there, and even above each window on that second floor.
Yeah, zoom a bit if you don't
Mhm.
mind. Yeah, that's
Really
look at
nice.
yeah. The cap over those windows is very
Mhm.
interesting and ornate. You'd never see any detail like that in anything modern. Nobody cares about that.
Does look like it's painted brick because you can see underneath two of those windows there as well. That looks
Yeah,
like you can see the red brick coming through.
and the cross indentations on the dividers there. Those are interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny how these can be hidden from your perception, and you have to kind of take a closer look to see what it's actually made of. At first glance,
Well,
you might just walk by.
well, walking by, you're going to be distracted by it's a bridal shop, obviously, like the windows, beautiful dresses, right? So you're
Uh-huh.
going to walk by,
Mhm.
and that's what's going to
Mhm.
catch your eye.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to look up and see all the gorgeous details on this old world building on this, what's probably a fairly busy intersection.
Mm.
Holy smokes, look at this.
I think this is this old city hall. Sorry, I'm not sure if the other
Here, you're muffled again.
This is the old
There you
city
are.
hall. The other building was something else. I'm not sure what the other building was,
Okay.
but this is the old city hall.
Oh yeah. Again, beauty.
Oftentimes, we get the narrative too that their first city hall, or maybe the second city hall in a town or city, would serve double duty. It was the post office and the city hall, until they
Mhm.
finally get around to building a big, massive, ornate post office with domes and cupolas on it for some reason. So it could be that there's some confusion in the narrative between these two buildings, where one was a post office, the other was a city hall, but maybe initially whatever was built first, they're trying to tell us it served both city hall and post office. I mean, who
Yeah,
knows?
I've heard that before. Yeah.
See the stonework.
Yeah, a couple of different types of stone, it looks like, used in this one. They've highlighted it very nicely with a lighter stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how they've punched, what looks like they've punched doors into that sort of lower band of different colored stone, which I guess they would tell us is the foundation.
Mm.
But then you got to go up a bunch of stairs to get into the main door at the tower there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be a landmark in that town.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
It is. So this is that building I just showed you. The old city hall is right along to the right, and then this is the Wesley United Church, and then the farmers market is this building right here. So it's all in the one square.
And that's that old farmer's market, apparently, 1840.
That's right.
Can you go back to the city hall just for 1 second? I want to see the clock. We had a question in the chat about the Roman numerals on the clock. I wonder, are we able to zoom in the clock and see what is the 4 an IV or a 1? It's
No, it's
4
4 ones.
Yeah.
4 eyes, yeah.
Seeing that a lot in the old world, because I used to get that marked with an X when I was a kid if I put 4 eyes. It would have to be IV, right? So that changed along the way somewhere.
Yeah, because the whole Roman numeral system is based on 1, 3, 5, 10. So if you want to show a 9, you don't put an X and 4 lines after it. You put a 10, or sorry, you don't put a V with 4 lines after it, which is 5 plus 4. You put a 10 with a 1 in front of it, minus, right? So it's 10 minus 1 is 9.
Okay,
That's how they do it.
You confused me with all these numbers, Frankie. You can totally, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I think that's the idea.
It's like space, right? Millions and millions of miles.
Yeah, make the numbers big.
You guys have officially made me lose my marbles!
God bless that kid. Godspeed, kid, whoever you are. You're the best. He doesn't take any crap from anybody, that kid. He's going to grow up to have a alternative history research YouTube channel. I just know it.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at this, eh? Whew. It's almost melded into one in there.
Yeah, there's some
Almost-
funny stuff going on there, isn't there? With that portal window, just underneath it.
Yep, down the sides
Looks
of it.
droopy or melty or something right above that little peak or point above the door there, right where it meets that portal round window. It's weird looking.
It's a church, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of beautiful old stone churches with really tall, really steep spires all in this area. They're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
There's your ventilation, Frankie, maybe, right?
A wind catcher of some sort, I would think. Yeah, part of the old air exchange system. You adjust and open those louvers, and it would either catch the wind and suck it into the building, or you could push out the stale, bad air, so to speak.
Somebody says, are we in France?
That's a great question, Heidi. Right? Oh, we're in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada land, eh? Look at that window. My goodness.
Yeah, this is the front of the same church.
Does look very old. If this was in England and they told you it was built in the 1300s, you might believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they say, oh, this is a medieval church built in 1598 over in Cambridge, England. And everybody be like, sure, okay, what else you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Cambridge, Canada, eh?
My guess, I bet you it's about 1870, 1880s construction, maybe 1850s in that area of Ontario.
Yeah. In this area, it could be as early as 1850s or 1860s, what they would try to tell us, yeah.
But a narrative, I would suggest. Yeah. Built in 1 year. So, probably built in 1 year, yeah. With hammers and chisels. Yeah.
No power tools.
No.
Yeah, some of these do look a little stumpy, you know, where it looks like it should extend further down 5, 8, 10 feet-ish.
Yes.
Because you have this grand tower, this grand window, round window up on the top, and then this little tiny stumpy door that you got to go up 5 steps to get into.
It's another view of the city hall.
The cupola up there is beautiful on that tower.
Yeah, look at the back there. Interesting.
Yeah, that's funny.
Again, looking different and redder, looking redder.
Yeah, some of the stones are reddish. It's weird.
So you can see they've connected it to the new part of the city hall. By glass, because that's how we do it in Cambridge.
Yeah,
that's how we do it in Calgary too there, eh, bud? At least they didn't knock it down, right? The same thing here.
Yeah.
They kept the old City Hall building and they just built the new City Hall right beside it, which is like a glass tower, yucky looking thing. And then they just connected them with an annex type building.
That's interesting right there. Completely different than the rest. Like if you go above where the window is above there, the second story window, it becomes consistent again. But then when you go below,
it's more gray.
Yeah. Interesting. And this looks sloppier, looks more jagged the way it's been laid, the stone itself, you know. Neat building.
Yeah, the back looks very different than the side and the front. There's another picture of that same building, the bridal shop, but this is the other side.
So ornate.
Now this is the farmer's market.
1840s.
That's right.
Little tech on
You
top.
need a 2-story farmer's market. Yeah.
With brick arch windows, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the farmer's got to haul his tomatoes all the way up to the second floor, and there's no elevators or nothing. He's got to haul. what would you rather be bringing your goods to this market if your table was on the second floor? Would you rather be a tomato farmer or a watermelon farmer? You know what I mean? Or
Tomato.
pumpkins. I gotta carry 78 pumpkins up those stairs. Get the hell out of here.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's in the city hall again.
Yeah, nice. Oh yeah, see, it does look kind of sunk. If you look at the front there,
Yeah.
again, the street level. I mean, obviously, look at the door. It looks like an afterthought. The door's got to be lower down on that thing. The original door.
The original door would be
Those were windows, I think. If you look, the
probably
pattern
the
around
lowest window in the center of the tower, the very, very lowest bottom window, probably used to be the door.
Here, zoom right in on the bottom of the door, if you don't mind. I'm just wondering if it was the same opening as the windows next to it, and then they just extended that opening a little bit lower.
Yeah, I bet you the top of the door lines up with the top of the window. Yeah.
See the styling there is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder.
And then
the color
extended it down to put a door in.
Look at the color of the brick as it goes to the bottom of the door there. If you stay there, it gets dark, right? So I think it's not the same. The shading on the yellowy color shading.
Yeah, there's no coining around the bottom half of that door frame.
That's right. They took the window out and they made it a door, I think.
Yep. But yeah, that one right in the center, I think that probably could have been the main door originally.
Unless we're going another story. Ooh, imagine.
Maybe.
Imagine.
Well, I mean, you could see the angle of the street there. It slopes down a bit.
Yeah.
This is that farmer's market again, right?
No, this one's the farmer's market's on the other side. This is the fire hall.
Fire hall, oh yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously an old fire hall. But what is it now? Do you know?
Fire hall museum.
Oh, okay.
And education center.
Education center, yeah.
What kind of education?
Re-education.
Yeah. Cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see the front doors where the carriages would have gone in. I like the big arches over top of those. It's always a nice look.
Yeah, that's how they rubber stamp the designation fire hall, because it's got a couple of big arch doors in it. So they got to tell you, well, that's how the horse-drawn fire carts were pulled in and out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with this old world stuff, a lot of people, we don't think about the foundations, the roots of these buildings. We don't even factor that into the build times at all. I think it's one of the big flaws in the historical narrative. Really amazing. There's a lot of weight to these old stone and brick buildings, and the fact that they haven't shifted much over that time period says that they're very, very well supported into the earth itself.
Yeah, which also would lend credence to the fact that it could possibly go down another floor, which would just give it more stability. And then underneath the buried main floor, what they now call a basement, is the actual real foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is better quality, gives it stability, and because it's buried so deep now that it's really sort of firmly packed in place. Yeah, so you don't get a lot of shifting per se. Unless you're in an area that gets hit by maybe earthquakes or whatever. But in Canada, not so much. A bit out in Vancouver. But other than that, not much in terms of earthquakes. I'm not too sure about Ontario. Ontario Explorer, do you get earthquakes or rumbles out there?
Minor, but nothing big.
Because the New Madrid would run kind of in toward the Great Lakes, up toward the Great Lakes from the U.S., right? The New Madrid line or whatever they call it.
There is a fault line. But we don't get very much action from it. This is a farmer's market. Mm-hmm. I think I have another picture of it.
It's quite large, and like you said, 2 stories,
There's the arch. Yeah, so this is the front corner of it. And there's another arch here. So, you needed arch doorways.
Check the damage brick there on the left of the opening. He's in there.
Oh, yeah. Good catch, buddy. Nice.
I don't know. Like it's just deteriorating in that one spot. It's kind of weird. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could have gotten whacked with something, maybe.
Yeah, as the movers, as they were moving in, hit the wall.
The farmers backing up to unload their pumpkins accidentally the back
The
of
horse and buggy.
the back of the horse cart
A horse
clipped the
kicked.
building there and bashed out some of that old world brick.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. When
When
with our building codes here, if you're going to add brick to a veneer of a building, like as a siding, you have to increase the size of the footing at the bottom of the hole by at least 3 times, depending on how many stories up you're going to go. If you're going to add
using red brick, you mean, like as opposed
like
to...
a brick veneer. If you're going to put a brick veneer on as your siding on your house, let's say, or building, rather than what we usually slap on wood, then the code requires you to increase the size of the footing, double or triple even sometimes.
Huh.
Because it's bearing so much weight, right? So yeah, these things go deep for sure.
Yeah, so it's got to transfer all that weight down to a more secure, more hefty footing. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And these things, they have barely shifted, really.
Well, this is on the other side of the river.
Oh,
and this is one of the big
beauty
churches. Yeah.
Beauty.
That's the church that you see in the distance in the thumbnail.
Yes.
That's got one of the most impressive spires I've seen.
What's at the top of that mini spire?
Look at this.
Yeah, look at the roof work. Hexagonal, maybe shingles, probably slate.
Come on, man.
And
that's still got a bunch of the tech on it.
Yeah, look at that on the right. That's not a cross on the top of the spire. There, yeah, where you're right there.
Yeah.
That's just a little fancy techie thing.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that?
It's a beauty, this one. Ooh.
Yeah, this one is just... I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm lighting my loafers or anything, but this thing's breathtaking. I mean, come on, eh?
She's a beauty, eh?
Mm-hmm. She is.
Like, if you don't think this thing's a beauty, you could just take off.
Yeah, classic old worlder too. They probably put this in the 50s or so.
That's a good question considering the tile work on that spire, right? Eric asking, is it a synagogue? No, it's a Presbyterian church. So it's Protestant. Yeah, Protestant church.
That looked like 1783, but I think the date that I found on this was 1880.
Yeah.
Can you zoom into that again, if you don't mind? Yeah, it's kind of discolored. It's hard to tell. It kind of does look like 1783. It wouldn't be 1983, obviously.
I'm trying to look it up too. I don't think I can find anything.
Or 1723? I don't know. I mean, it's a nice, clear photo. Your camera's obviously quite nice. And you got a steadier hand than I do. I'll give you that.
I give credit to my brother for taking the pictures.
Okay. There you go.
This church has its own YouTube channel.
What?
I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Central Presbyterian Church of Cambridge, yeah.
What? What?
All right.
Okay, now this I have good photos of this too from the front. This is the old post office, and I see that it's no longer a Irish pub, which it used to be.
Muffled again.
It was called the Fiddler's Green. It was a pub, but now it is part of the library system. So it's a virtual library. They have makerspace in here now and digital recording studios, all kinds of things like that.
Okay, wait. So it was a post office.
Yes.
Then a pub, and now it's part of the library and it does a bunch of other stuff in it, but it's attached to the library.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. Like to go from a pub to a library. like an old building to a pub, I get it, right? We see that a lot. An old fire hall converted to a pub or a restaurant, or even an old church converted to a restaurant. I've seen that before. But then to be converted again into something like a library, that's strange. You'd almost think that they would have rubber stamped the narrative on this was the library, and then for a while it was a pub, but now we've reclaimed it as part of the new library. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah. I have some pictures from the front of that building too. But you can see it's right along the river.
Yeah. Can you zoom in the river part and just give us a good close up of all that?
Yeah.
When you're done there,
lots of buildings are right along the river.
Got a request from I Am Kairos to do check the clock on that too when you're done checking this. But look at that. That goes right down to the water.
Get real close if you don't mind. I just want to see if this is, it looks like a concrete veneer over top of stonework on the right part of that. You're starting to see the stonework come through.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And different materials on the left. You've got what looks like concrete, then stone, and then brick on top of that. And then more stone.
Old world infrastructure.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, newer, built on top of older, built on top of older still, right? The same narrative we see all over the realm.
But along the river, downtown Galt, they have lots of buildings built in right along the river like this one. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so clock.
I don't know if we're going to get it. Oh, I think we got the 4 eyes again. Is it the same one? No?
I think. No, this is a different one.
Okay.
It's a different one, but it looks like it has 4 eyes also, yeah.
It does. Yeah. I think I have a better picture of that clock tower.
4 eyes. Come on, Frankie. A little inappropriate.
Sorry. Sorry.
Remember that? Elementary school?
I'm wearing my glasses right now.
Oh, man.
I generally only need them for reading or, looking at the idiot box or goofing around on the computing machine, right? So, but if I'm just walking around or at work, I don't really need them. So, yeah, I remember being called 4 eyes.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Looks like
stucco
painted brick again.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, you're right. Painted brick. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's painted brick.
Yep.
Beautiful woodwork and all those angles. Assuming that's wood. I mean, it could be a plaster mold, like plaster cast in a mold or something. But
yeah, it's very interesting.
Not plaster, but some kind of polymer. Right?
Maybe staff, like they built the World's Fairs out of. Could be staff.
Yeah, because it holds up well to wind, ice, and snow in Canada. That staff stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
It's not a problem. It'll last for hundreds of years, the snow up here.
And it goes up quick. Goes up right quick.
Oh, she'll go up right quick there, Pot.
Another
you don't have to worry about... you don't have to go...
Another church, yep. A lot of churches.
Everywhere. Wow.
They are. These two are right across the square from each other on that side of the river.
Old again, looking very old.
There's like 4 or 5 or 6 really impressive churches all within about 10 blocks here in Cambridge. It's mind-boggling. It's you just get
big doors there too.
Baffled and befuddled looking at it.
That's so you could ride your horse in too, right? Go right in on horseback. The big doors.
Oh yeah, the preacher would have come in on horseback, you see.
Yeah.
Church.
Yeah, hit the like button, folks.
Yeah, you haven't already.
Or the dislike, as we like to say. We want honest feedback here.
Yeah, you can hit the thumbs down. We're not going to huddle in the corner holding each other crying over it or anything. It just helps to support the channel, and it, that's the best way to support both of our channels is just to, give a thumbs up, maybe share if it's a stream or a video link or something and you want to get it out there and share it with people, and then commenting. That's the best way to support the channel. We love to hear from you and we love all the support.
Yeah, we're just having fun too. Yeah, definitely two tones there. Yep.
All right, we're having a good time. And
Dusty Slay. He's my new favorite comedian right now. He's so funny.
Oh yeah.
We're having a good time.
Heidi asks, any griffins?
Oh, yeah.
Good question.
Griffins, lions. That's another one we see a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to explain away in Canada. Oh, it represents the crown, the king and or queen, depending who is ruling when this building was built, right?
Yeah, it's the Royal Lion Dragon /
Sure,
Dragon.
King Edward, King George V, Queen Victoria, whomever, right? The lion represents. So they explain that away in Canada very easily. But, you know, in the States, there's lions, and then they try to say, well, it represents power, and it represents the stability and power of the New World colonies of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the side of the other church, that one with the steeple with the decoration on it. You can see the same decoration on the roof.
I can really appreciate the shingle work on these things. Incredible. Very difficult operation to finish those roofs, those steeples.
Yeah.
That way.
Like doing that on the roof is one thing, but the steeple is such a severe angle, and they took the time to do that work with the slate tile in the steeple too. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Up there. Yeah.
Like just hanging precariously off the edge of that thing, I guess. I don't know. With ropes and pulleys. Like, who knows? That's what they would try to tell us.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
Definitely some esoteric symbology on that thing.
Mm-hmm. There, get some nice block work.
Yeah, that's all you need, eh? Just a guy and a rope. That's good. Maybe a bucket attached to his belt with a bunch of shingles, slate shingles in his bucket.
This
Brave
building
soul.
here is,
That's the back end, right?
this is the back end of the Carnegie Library.
Mm-hmm.
That goes right down into the river, which has now been turned into a canal, basically.
Yeah. Zoom. Are those, what are the little holes at the bottom? Are those like water escape holes or something? Or what officially? Does anyone know? Definitely block. If you can see that's all block work at the bottom of the library. It's painted or something, but see as you get closer, that's you can see the rows of blocks there. Yeah.
Yeah, in the late fall, early winter, before it gets too cold, they would just, on the water levels low, they would just go in there, bunch of guys, and they would just paint that up every few years.
Yep. 1835.
They just try to make it so that when you're just walking by, it looks like part of the foundation of the library. But it's actually part of the retaining wall of when they turn that river into a canal, basically.
So this is another church, not as impressive as the other two in terms of size, but still really beautiful.
Missing its steeple, I would suggest again, possibly.
Well, especially when you look at all the other churches close by with their mind-blowing steeples. Sorry, I missed it. What did you say? What denomination this was? Methodist or?
This one is Trinity Anglican.
Oh, Anglican. Okay. So again, Protestant. If the exact same building was across the border into Quebec, they would say that this was a Roman Catholic church. But because we're in what's now Ontario, oh no, it's Protestant. Because all the Frenchies were supposedly Catholics, they say, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first one in Preston that I showed was Catholic, but
yeah,
all the other ones are not. The really impressive ones are not Catholic.
Which is usually the opposite of what we see. Usually the Methodist and Presbyterians, they look like the spires have been removed, and the Catholic ones tend to retain the spires. But in this case, it's all over the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like the steeple has been removed.
Yeah, water
river
does real
feature.
well with bricks.
But you can see there's concrete, and then there's that looks like it was brick or stone.
Yeah, stone
Yeah.
and then concrete. Or maybe that concrete isn't concrete, it's stone, but they've just smeared some kind of thin set or concrete over top
Maybe.
of it. You know what I mean? And then they try to tell
Yeah.
us, oh, it's built in stages. This is fascinating. Look at that big, huge arched doorway at the bottom of that
I
sort of
know.
center photo or photo center of the
Yep.
building. Yeah, that right there. And you know the water level is going to come way up in the spring, probably
Mm-hmm.
10, 12 feet.
Yep.
So that door is just going to be completely submerged underwater. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yes. Yes. Now that bridge is very famous in Cambridge. A lot of movies are filmed in Cambridge, and that bridge shows up in a lot of different movies.
Well, yeah, you can get all those steeples and spires in the background. I mean, just to hear when you pull out in this photo, you got two beautiful big ones right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the thumbnail for that website for that church, was the bridge and the church all in one.
Yeah.
That bridge, well, it saw some problems in the Gulf flood.
Yes.
The water came up so high that it was hitting the side of the actual surface of the bridge, like the platform of the bridge. It didn't quite go over the bridge, but she was pert near.
I think in 74 it did go over the bridge.
Really? Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
And there's a lot of old factories downtown Galt.
Oh yeah, they got to make the hockey stick somewhere, eh?
No, they made those in Hustler. They made different, there was the old Tiger Brand factory was downtown Galt.
Snow plows.
That's why you're here, Ontario Explorer, to set us straight on the local narrative.
Yeah, keep a couple of knuckleheads on the straight and narrow here.
Oh, wow.
By the way, 63 of you watching between the two channels and over on Rumble as well. So thank you very much once again, everybody, for taking a little time out of your Sunday morning or afternoon, joining us here for Knuckleheads 10, Old Cambridge, Ontario, with our special guest, Ontario Explorer, a local.
Yeah, this it's got a special feel to it having you here, Ontario Explorer. It has a whole different flavor to it.
Oh, I'm glad I'm adding. I hope I'm not taking too long.
No, hey, it's no way. Keep it coming.
This is a old building.
Oh, yeah.
This is now
Well, just like you keep Chris and I in line, we'll keep you in line too if you start dragging your feet there. Eh? Don't you worry about that, bud.
Okay.
All right. I'm playing.
We'll
You're
do it
doing
politely.
fine. You're doing great.
This is interesting. This is a bit of a mix and match here too. That front, this is new. Very in the foreground. This little attempt to make it look like an old world. That's new, I think. That's
With those funny angled windows, you mean? And
well, yeah, but this is this little part of the fence here in the front. Here,
oh, that stone. Yeah, that stone.
You can tell it's not the same construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it look old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a potpourri of all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very interesting, though. You could see the main house. That old stone is lovely.
Oh, look at this. Look at the roof.
Yeah, the roof reminds me of that church we saw.
That's got to be slate. Hexagonal slate. Does anyone know? That's not
I bet you they're going to tell us that whoever built that church, whoever the contractor was, built this as well.
Stone foundation again. Of course.
The roof on this thing is mind-blowing, but that foundation and then all of that stonework around the windows, it's really nice. There's so much to look at for, just a small sort of row of residences.
Yeah. Row houses, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All of those dormers and everything. It's really nice.
It is, yeah.
This is an old public school, old Dixon school.
Again, the
Right
lettering,
across from those houses.
afterthought. The lettering looks like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the arch and the pediment look nice, but the lettering looks weird.
It's not currently a school. It's under construction. I'm not sure what they're doing with it.
Let me guess, it took a year to build, but it's taken 3 years to do a renovation on it.
That sounds about right.
It's
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
Ah, there we go. Terrace housing. Yes, interesting term indeed.
They're probably not doing any construction in there. It's just walled off until they decide to tear it down or miraculously turn it into a new brew pub or something.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
It's going to be a new microbrewery pub where you can get small batch beer and hand-tossed hot wings on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, the guy who serves the tea has got a mustache, big, long, curly mustache.
Oh, yeah, some hipster wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah. Look at the old stonework here, eh? I think there's probably some damage going on here, some heat damage going on here from what we're seeing.
Yeah. And even the one across the street, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see the joinery and between some of those stones is not very sharp.
It's inconsistent, right? Like that's perfect right there. That the bottom half is like drippy, where the grout is starting to like droop out, and then the top half is still pretty tight. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's just a modest little home, but built out of that large stone like that. Really nice.
Interesting. Yeah, it almost turns to rubble on the side there. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Not sure what's going on there.
Maybe vines? Is that or we used to have vines on it? Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, almost looks like dormant ivy or something.
Yeah.
So this was Triple Park. There used to be two of these. This is only one side of what used to be the entrance, and you would go underneath a rail bridge. And so the other side is not there anymore. So we took a picture of this.
Part of the old world infrastructure, right? The rail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, this stone support for the overhead rail bridge, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Good sized stones there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely looks very old.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why they kept one up and didn't keep the other one up. Like even if
I
they
don't
wanted
know.
to remove the old rail bridge for whatever reason, it's unsafe or whatever, but then they could still keep the other side of the stone support erected and have it as sort of a gateway into the park. You know what I mean?
It's no longer the entrance or exit to the park. They've redone the whole thing, of course.
It's just kind of there.
So now it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it unless you remembered that it was there.
A lot of these, hey, a lot of these mix and match type old stone buildings.
Yeah.
This is just me kind of spitballing here, but I think you've got your older buildings that are stone, whether it's a big building or a little house like that. And then they were, found and fixed up and repurposed. And then you had some brick structures that were already existing. but they're going to try to maybe tell us that they're two different built time periods. But at first I would have maybe agreed with that, but we're seeing a lot of damaged stone, but also a lot of damaged brick. And it's the same sort of looking damage where it's gotten soft or exposed to, I don't know, heat or electric or some kind of, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
this an armory?
This is the armory, yes.
Of course it is, because it
Obviously.
looks like an armory, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's got turrets on it, and you know, so it's, what is it, a castle? Nope, it's an armory.
Stone foundation.
Yeah.
Really sloped roadway there. Yeah.
Same building?
Same building. We got pictures all around this one.
There you go. Yeah. A lot of armories in southern Ontario. In my research, I've seen quite a few.
Mhm. There are even in places that don't have a lot of old world buildings, there'll be an armory that looks like this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Most armories, in my experience, look very similar. You have maybe a series of doors on one side and then on one end, and then a huge sort of what looks like a huge arched entryway like that, but it's been bricked in.
Mhm.
My theory, and I think a lot of others have kind of come up with this theory, is these could have been maintenance hangars for airships or dirigibles.
Mhm.
Let's say at night you would park it in here, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because you could pretty much launch them or land them from anywhere. But if, let's say, you want to do some work on them, or I don't know, right after a flight and it's retiring for the evening, you pull it into a hangar, and you got to clean up the inside of it and spruce it up and whatever,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, out of the elements, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Colosseums would fall under that as well. Armories, colosseums. Yeah. Oh yeah. Interesting discoloration too.
Yeah, looks scorched or something.
Mhm.
Wonder what the official story would be on that. What they would tell us is if it's black mold or if it's just natural variations in color in the stone.
Probably weathering is my guess. And it could be. I don't know. Maybe.
First, you have to have a tank out in front to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cannons in front of courthouses and tanks in front of armories.
Mhm.
1914.
Mhm. Yes.
Yep, there's a tank in front of the armory here in Calgary. There's a tank in front of the armory in Edmonton. I think it's standard fare, Chris. I think you're right.
Cements the narrative. Big nasty old government sign out front.
Yep. But the letters are right into the building. That's convincing.
It's got to be true. It's right there.
It must be true.
Different font too than we've seen on other buildings. Almost
Yes.
almost like a less official font. If we go back
Yeah.
into the armory, zoom in a bit more, they have a kind of a waviness to them that you don't really see on these old ones. That's strange.
Mhm. I have a few other pictures of this. This is that old post office that's now a library. That used to be an Irish pub.
Oh, yes, of course. Jeez, that
We
still cracks
call
me
it
up.
the Fiddler's Green. I have a few more pictures of that one.
Actually, I did come across a few articles when I was researching for the show that made mention of Fiddler's Green. It's actually quite notable and quite famous.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a point of pride with the locals too.
Yes. So then we just took some pictures of houses as we were driving.
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a lot of very old,
The
different looking
Union
houses.
Jack out front, eh? Flying the Union
Yeah.
Jack. Interesting.
Yep.
One wonders why they had to build a retaining wall to keep that earth that's piled up against that house like that. You know what I mean? Like, is that house another level down and then a basement under that? Like, if you were to tear that wall away and dig away all that earth so that it's with street level, would it reveal that? I'm just speculating, but seems possible. Of course, they'll tell us, oh, it's when they were leveling the streets, when they put in, you know, the underground sewage and water mains, and they leveled out the streets. Nice stone wall there.
Yeah.
That may be more of a modern creation.
Looks to me like they may have just put a concrete slab on top of it and put some of those wooden fence posts.
Yeah.
So here
to try
we're
to pass it
going
off.
towards Blair, and this is another old train.
Huge.
bridge.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
Can you zoom at all a bit more? And let's.
I think I have a couple pictures of this.
Okay. Yeah. These are massive. Like 5 feet long. Some of them. They look like.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Snow was blowing.
And drag them out to the middle of nowhere so you could build a railway bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, horses are pretty strong. Sure, you get it. You know, even 2 horses could haul that, but the guys have got to hoist it up and stack them. Eventually, they got to get 25, 30 feet up. The horses aren't stacking them, are they?
All right, boys, heave. Heave.
Right. Just get her going there, bud. It's almost time to have a brewski and a donut.
Yeah. Grand Pacific says we got to get another mile of track laid today. Come on, boys. No laying down on the job. Yeah.
Okay, now this is in Blair. This is Langdon Hall. This is a very famous hotel.
Wedding spot?
Wedding spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
Spa.
So it's a hotel now,
Restaurant, like fancy restaurants.
I wonder what it used to be. Maybe an old world. You said there's a spa there. Is there like a hot spring or something there too?
I don't know if in Blair there's hot springs. Preston had hot springs, yes. And they had 3 old hotels.
So they had old healing centers around the springs in Old Preston. Huh.
Yeah, they tore them down though.
That is true. They did have those, basically it was 2 axles, and you would just put them under the block, and the block itself would be the body of the vehicle as you were pulling it with the horses, and you'd basically just have 2, I don't know, cart axles, you know, underneath it. Still a pain in the butt to do that, though. And then once you get it there, you got to hoist them up into place. Those are big blocks. I mean, stones at the base of a house like this, yeah, okay, you know.
Yep.
But those big blocks were huge.
Pattinson?
Yes, factory.
Very fancy. Keystones above the windows. Really nice. Oh, I know what you're saying. I mean, it was a thing, but still, you got to think that block would weigh, I don't know, 1,000 pounds. So getting it A to B is a pain in the butt enough, but yeah, putting it up into place.
That lighter colored one in the middle, is that stone, not brick? That one there.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Weird, eh? And the windows are the same styling. That's very strange. Very strange. You got brick on the right and left of it with the same window styling, and then you got this one.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Great
Sunny
vibe in the chat
outside
as always,
of the
everybody.
factory.
You guys are great. A lot of great comments, a lot of great ideas about what we're looking at. And these are just terrific photos. Thanks again, Ontario Explorer.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's an enjoyable Sunday afternoon.
And thanks to your bro.
Right. Yes. Okay, so now this is one of my favorites. This is the Galt High School, Galt Collegiate Institute, and it looks like a castle.
Indeed.
And so, it's a picture. So when we went out to take these pictures, it was very, very cold and snowing. And by the time we got finished, it was sunny and very, very cold. But they tell us that this was...
Sorry, can you repeat that?
They tell us it was built in sections as a high school.
So as the need arose and the population grew, they expanded upon it, is what they're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
And William Tassie was the first principal of the high school, of the school.
Look at
And
the
then,
tower.
yes, and then when they had to meet provincial standards, he didn't want to be the principal anymore. He didn't want to have anything to do with those provincial standards, so he retired.
Maybe he was teaching the old world, and he just refused.
So he took one.
Check out the black, too, right on a lot of the rocks.
Looks like it was a beautiful day when you were filming. Not.
Yep.
Hope you had gloves on.
It looks like a lot of Canadian boots on the ground videos. Oh, she's not too bad out, eh? Look at this thing over here, but
I think this one
in the background.
This is damaged. I think this building, to me, it looks heat damaged. A lot of the stonework.
Yeah, there's some weird discoloration going on with this thing too,
which we're seeing a lot of here in Cambridge.
They like their swirly capitals on top of their columns and pillars in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Phoenician capital, I believe.
Ooh.
When it has the swirls like that.
Nicely done. I did not know that.
I think there's a couple of different kinds. There's the Torsfield capital, which is the really fancy ones that look like leaves and stuff shooting out of the top.
Yep.
And then there's these that I believe are Phoenician. Or what we're
1854.
told.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going back a ways, especially for Canada, right?
Yeah. How much antifreeze do you add to the mortar? That's a good point. That's a great point. I'm going to use that one. Half the year, I would imagine you'd be able to set anything in the outdoors in most Canadian climates. Otherwise, it's too damn cold for the mortar to set. Oh, yeah. And look at
tip of the hat for the two of you for being out in the snow and wind to film this.
That's a rounded corner, isn't it? What we're looking at right in front of us. That's rounded.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Wow. That's just frivolous. To round that corner like that, it's just, it's frivolous. Yep. Why would you do that? It's like, it says here on the plans, we want a round corner here, boss. Are you sure? It's a lot quicker and easier for us to do a hard 90. Nope.
No, we got plenty of time and man hours and skilled workmen to do this in the 1860s or whatever.
The railway's taking a break. We're going to use all this manpower from the railroad today. They're taking 2 days off.
Yeah. Don't worry, boys. We can bang this up over the Victoria Day long weekend, eh?
Look at that.
Yeah.
All the blackening on here.
Mm-hmm.
And that weird set of double doors down at the bottom like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good footage. Really good footage.
This guy looks angry at you there in the background, though.
No, the sun's trying to come out there. Just going to the side of the building here.
Nice. Looking like a church back here. Maybe it's the chapel portion.
So this is the auditorium for the school, which I've been inside many times, but I've no indoor pictures. But have.
Doesn't it feel like a church to you? Does that feel? How's that feel?
It does have the feel of a church.
It looks like, what we would be told is like a chapel, a smaller church, right? Yeah.
Now this is from the back, from behind. It's along the river, just outside of downtown, and there's an amphitheater, which is now done in wood.
Hold on, amphitheater?
It's like an amphitheater, yeah.
Come on, you're joking, right?
So you've
Right
got
along
an
the river, yeah.
amphitheater along the river,
high
in between the building and the river. They've built an amphitheater.
Is this for the drama class?
For the school?
Apparently, yeah.
Before.
What? What?
It's absurd.
And they do, they would do performances. Yeah.
Well, of course. Why wouldn't you put an amphitheater in next to a school by the river?
Right.
I mean, of course.
Oh, there's a stage and everything.
Yeah.
And you can see the river.
Beautiful.
Jeez.
Yep.
And you were saying that you remember it being stone and now it's wood, right? So they've kind of tried to fix it up. So I guess it's still being used.
It is, I believe, yes.
So what they want to do is preserve it, but they don't want people to remember that it was stone. So they want to keep it, but they're going to change it.
Right.
That sounds
now,
familiar.
Right by the high school here is the rail bridge. And it's close to the train station, but we took a few pictures of I'll go back. We have some pictures of the footings of that bridge.
Do you know offhand if that's a CP bridge or a CN bridge?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty.
Because I know this area they were both big, right? CP being Canadian Pacific Railway and CN being Canadian National Railway. For those of you that don't know.
Yeah, this face of the building here looks heat damage to me, big time. You can, it's strange.
Yeah, and like a scrubbed cartouche or medallion or shield or something there in the center.
Yeah.
Cute little cupola there that looks like slate or copper
Beauty.
or something too.
Yeah.
Really neat place.
Yeah.
All the angles on the top of the roof of the tower too, with the dormers coming out of the top there, and then they've got the wind catchers built into that. That's not easy.
I like that little turret too to the right there. Yeah. Pyramidal shape and then the little cone coming off the side. Classic old world.
Yeah. So this is the rail bridge.
Yeah. Tight stonework for sure.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if those breakers were added after the fact up against those three supports to help break the ice or break even the flow of the water during high water times or what have you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Really fancy above that center door at the base of that center tower. Really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you're driving along and all of a sudden this comes out of nowhere. And you're like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
You can see that's towards downtown. You'll see the church spires from here.
Yeah.
There's a little decoration there too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely no shortage of beautiful old stone buildings around Cambridge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like just as many, if not more than old brick buildings.
Yep, definitely.
There's a good business investment in the old world. Donkey snorkels. So the donkeys can help you build those bridge supports in the river.
Another
Hurry, hurry, step right up and get your one and only handcrafted donkey snorkel.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes way back, eh?
Yes. Yes, so they're finding the new system incompatible with his own methods of teaching, Dr.
See, he was an old worlder. That's my guess. He was teaching the old world stuff.
Like, what's this newfangled crap?
Hold on a sec.
This sounds like propaganda break. I'm
It's
out of
coming
here,
from
eh?
the crown. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to retire, eh? Screw this. I'm
I
out
ain't
of
teaching
here.
the kids that lie.
Mhm.
Take off, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, some hoser comes along with some newfangled idea, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm out of here.
Yeah, it could be something along those lines, you know. Yeah, Brian. Maybe. Could be.
Yeah, you never know what this guy was teaching. Obviously, the new curriculum he was in such disagreement with that he like turned in his keys. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I'm retiring.
Check out that stone balcony. Ooh,
Yeah.
beauty.
Yeah, because that's not a pain to do for no reason. Let's put
That's
a little
easy.
bijou balcony way up there, 40 feet up.
Yeah. Easy to do, Frankie. Easy to do.
Oh, you get a couple Canadians hopped up on Tim Hortons and donuts, and they'll bang that out in a couple of days, eh?
Yeah.
The domes on that thing up on the top. Jeez.
I love it. It's beauty.
Mm. Looks like some damage here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, some weird cracks, right?
Still the school? This is all still the school?
It's all the stills. Yes,
Huh.
Huge.
it is. Okay, this is the old train station.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a train station. It's so funny, you know? It doesn't matter. We could be in Bavaria. And guess what this is? A train station, like even without the train tracks. Guess what this is? A train station, and more than likely you're going to be bang on. It's so funny how they rubber stamp these old world buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in the old world it was always a train station, but it's just funny how no matter where you look, they look very similar. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by now.
Mm-hmm. Old train station.
This would have been part of the their interurban system that went between Galt, Preston, and forgive me, Hespeler. Thank you.
No problem.
So this would have served the electric tram, like streetcar, and also the passenger rail and cargo, which was also an electric train, like for their local system. So they ran both on electric as opposed to steam engines.
This is the Old Galt Arena.
Sure, to go with the old hockey sticks.
Yep.
Bit of a blend there too, hey? Brick, stone.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm guessing it's wrought iron canopy over the entrance there.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit? Interesting symbology there. So again, a tiny little place, but this huge hockey arena. I mean, hockey's big in Canada. I get it, but this is pretty big.
Well, they had Gordie Howe on the hockey team. Yeah.
For those of you that don't know,
I think
that settles it then.
Some people might not know who that is. Gordie Howe. Mr. Hockey, right? Mr. Hockey? Like the hockey legend, I suppose.
Yeah.
Him and Wayne Gretzky now, I guess. But yeah.
Well, the guy that when Gretzky was coming up, he was Gordie Howe was one of the guys that Gretzky was sort of held up to task and say, okay, we're going to compare this kid to this Gordie Howe guy. Because Gordie already a huge legend. You're right. By the time a young Gretzky grabbed a stick from the Mi'kmaq or from Galt or wherever he got his stick.
Cooper Hockey Factory. Well, Wayne Gretzky grew up just down the street in Brantford.
You see, it's all come together.
Yeah.
Hockey factories over there.
Yeah, they should have called it Maple Galt Gardens. Yeah, there you go. No shortage of maple trees in Ontario, that's for sure. Sharpest elbows in the game.
Side of it looks like it's all been redone.
Yeah, they would have had to add new refrigeration equipment to keep the ice surface, so they would just build that in an adjacent structure that's connected to it. Even like small prairie town Quonset style arenas out in the middle of nowhere, we're in a town of 500 people here in Alberta. They'll do that. They'll have like the rink and all the bleachers and maybe look a little cafeteria inside, but all the refrigeration equipment and everything is outside in a separate building. Ooh, that's nice.
Okay, so now this is a park right beside the old Galt Arena. And this is a bridge underneath the road. I have some other pictures of that too.
Very nice stonework on that arch.
Concrete bridge.
The blocks look like they maybe have been repurposed from a railroad, one of those railroad supports, maybe. These big ones in the foreground?
These big ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of used as part of maybe a flood abatement.
Yeah.
Precautions or something. Oh, we're going to move them here in case the river ever overflows in here or whatever.
But they have that similar look, right? They have a similar look and feel. Oh, look at that. Melty.
That looks weird.
Yeah.
Some damage, some repairs, some, I don't know what.
Interesting.
Looks to me like there's a bunch of different construction materials used in there. Very inconsistent looking.
There's a building up on the top of the hill.
Yet another stone with columns. A lot of work to build those multi-storied stone structures, brick structures.
Yeah. And looking a lot more like a Georgian plantation home than something in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, you know?
Much like the wedding venue that we saw earlier.
Yes.
Had that
Yeah,
same
that one
feel.
really did. Yeah, it looked like it was right straight out of Savannah or something.
hmm
I said, Belvedere, come here, boy.
So now we're in Hespeler, and I have a few pictures of Hespeler. This is a church. The cupola.
Wow. As per usual, the higher up you go, the fancier it is. But, you know, where everybody's walking on the street level, they have to crane their necks to look up at it. Nice. They really like their tall spires
They
in
do.
the Cambridge area.
Yes. Well, this one is fascinating, this old church. I have some good pictures of it.
Wow. Looking very European to me. Or English, right? Or British, UK, per se.
This is the same church.
So even those little windows have stained glass and leaded glass in them. I mean, the big ones, sure, but even the little ones, really nice. Oh, yeah, you could have those narrow slits to shoot arrows out of. Exactly. You may have something there, Jabberoo Joe. Lots of electrical storms in southern Ontario. So maybe a really extreme electromagnetic plasma burst type storm, you know, old world reset, caused some of this charring and weird globular meltage and discolorations, possibly. Very impressive. The round portion at the back of these churches, I think it's called the rectory.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I'm not much on church building part names, but I mean, it's just to build that. I mean, out of brick to build that curve would be enough of a pain in the butt, but with these larger stones, it's really nice. Very impressive, skilled workmanship there. Especially with the stone headers above the windows. That's got to be done in a curve too.
Yeah.
Really nice. That's where they keep the Zambonis. Well, hockey almost being like a religion up here. Yeah, park the Zamboni in the church, eh? So nobody messes with your prized ice surface maintenance equipment. Yeah, there's something weird going on with a lot of those stones. The other thing, too, to remind ourselves is the interior ceiling height in these aren't going to be your standard residential or commercial, like modern heights, right? 8 or 9 foot ceilings. These are going to be like 10 or 12 or even taller, 14, 15 foot ceilings, and it's 2 floors. So it's, you know, nice, big, majestic, tall buildings. And again, a lot more effort, material to build. Imagine being up at the top of this thing, stacking and mortaring in these stone blocks, and it's like March in Canada. Like, take off. It's not happening. This would take so long to build. Yeah, missing its tech maybe, eh?
the church.
That could be, Brian. Yeah, airships used for building. Yeah, to, lift the larger blocks or to lift some of the, the metallic old world tech to, plop it on the top of the building.
Okay, so here is a better picture of the front of that old post office downtown Galt.
Beautiful. Looks like a gingerbread house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has a date on the front.
It's got a bit of a squish-a-med type top to the tower there.
Yep.
Somebody was asking about the clock earlier. I think it's eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. Dang it. Well, that's the thing too, right? If everybody was, let's say, I don't know, 300 years ago or whatever, just going by their timeline, if everybody's 15 feet tall or 12 feet tall, let's say 12 feet, yeah, you'd have to have 15-foot ceilings. And then that would explain the huge arched entryways. I mean, I'm certainly open to the idea that there's giants. There's certainly evidence of giants, skeletal remains, stories, like historical documents, but also Indigenous First Nations stories that have been handed down through generations.
I'm
of them having to battle giants.
I'm 14'7". Is that tall?
That's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how tall are you, Frankie?
Oh, I'm not too high off the ground there. I'm about 5'8", 5'8". I'm just a small feller.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah, you're almost a foot taller than me. I can't wait to get together in real life and we'll stand shoulder to shoulder and have a group photo taken. People can just giggle their asses off. Because
So
I only tip the scales at $1.50 as well, right? So
Yeah.
That's the end of my file.
Cool.
That was
awesome.
Excellent.
Very special.
Excellent.
I felt really special having your input here, Ontario Explorer.
Really thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, what did you think? That was pretty magnificent. I mean, it's one thing, you look at some, photos that you download offline or whatever, or online. Sure, cool, good enough. But again, to have a local, to take the time and go out there and the two of you run around taking photos and video footage. So we get to see it basically in almost real time. Really, really great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're welcome.
Once upon a time, they lived happily ever after. Yeah. Definitely fairy tale castles. Yeah. Just amazing. Yeah. Good stuff, right? Excellent photographs.
I feel like we get this clearer picture of the realm the more locations we look at. You're getting what may have gone on in certain regions.
Yeah. I didn't take a picture of the Hespeler Library, but it's an old Carnegie building, but it's been covered in glass because that's what we do with libraries in Cambridge. We just cover the old building in glass, and we wanted more square footage, and
I remember
so they just
that.
covered it in glass. Yeah. And then the other thing I don't have pictures of because they tore them down were the Preston Springs hotels. So, but those you can look up on the internet too. They found the spring and they built the hotel and people came. Oh yeah. There you go.
So
there's one of the hotels.
This is the library here. They basically, the old building is inside and they've built a glass enclosure around it to protect. This is just a postcard of it, but basically this inside of this glass cube now.
Yeah.
There's some interior shots so you can see. So again, I mean, not your ideal situation, but at least they preserved it kind of, sort of.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, just driving by or even just walking by, depending on what time of day and how the light is shining, you might not even see this inside here. It would just look like a big glass cube, and you might be like, "Meh, whatevs."
Yeah.
But at certain times of day, at the right angle, then this beauty inside reveals itself, you know. But this is kind of strange. It's definitely a new one on me.
Yes.
I don't ever remember seeing that before. Very, very odd.
Strange.
Yeah, under a glass dome. Yeah, like a ship in a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. So we're just creeping up on 2.5 hours here. What do you think? What do you say we take a little bit of a break? Do a quick little mid-show break. And then we'll come back and see what Chris at Old World Exploration has to offer with some of the stuff that he's found. What do you think, everybody? Sound like a plan?
Yeah, I got about 40 visuals to share, so.
Oh,
Sounds good to me.
nice.
Mm.
Well, you always bring the your milkshakes always bring the boys to the yard, Chris. So
that's right. They're better than yours. I could
Whatever
teach
that-
you.
Then you'd have to charge.
Nicely done.
Woo! Wee!
Oh,
Hey, why not? Why not?
bunch
you
of
know.
goofs here. Bunch of.
All right, we're having a good time. And
My dad is saying that the Cambridge has CP rail. You're asking. The Kitchener has CN rail.
Yeah, because they're both pretty big out there. But I know CN was really big in and around the Toronto-ish area, and CP more out of Montreal-ish. So that's why I was kind of wondering.
Cambridge had CP rail.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ontario Explorers Pops. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some good info. I don't know. I just get hung up on trains. It's my thing. I don't know why. I just get super distracted
cool.
by them.
Trains
I've always
are cool.
grown up around trains. So anyway, so we're going to share some video footage here. It's about 3.5 minutes long. And it's video footage of the 1929 Galt flood. So, of course, you'll see, the mad fury of activity as people are trying to deal with it. But also, please take note, as always, with these old video footage that I dig up, just the beautiful old world buildings in the background. Some are still there, obviously, as we've looked at, but some, of course, unfortunately, are long gone. So we'll have a look at this, take a quick 3.5 or so-ish minute break, and then we'll come right back. So thanks again, everybody, for sticking around, joining us here on the show. Knuckleheads, episode 10, looking at Old Cambridge, Canada, with our special guest, Ontario Explorer. So thanks, everybody. Shall be back in 3.5. All right, and we are back. What did you think of that?
Very interesting.
Yes, unpleasant but interesting.
Hmm.
Thanks, everybody, once again for joining us. Frankie, New West Reset, Chris, Old World Exploration, and our special guest, Ontario Explorer from the Cambridge area-ish over there in Ontario, our special guest today for CANUCKLEHEADS Show Episode 10. Appreciate everybody joining us. Oh, Johnny Cool says you have a very extremely nice voice, which is a bonus. So there you go, Ontario Explorer. That's kind of nice.
Thank you very much. Yes,
That's kind of nice, eh?
Well, if you compare it to our nasty old crusty voices, sure.
Speak for yourself, eh? I know I have a smooth honey-soaked voice over here. No idea what that means.
No, you do. You hit the nail on the head. That's how I would have described it as well.
You know, I got so ahead of myself because I got so excited about what Ontario Explorer was going to show us that I think I forgot to show did I forget to show my photos of the Interurban Railroad, Interurban streetcar?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. Get Jabberoo's comment on there for a sec, if you don't mind. Throw that up there.
The rose between two thorns? There you go. That's pretty accurate, I would say. Do you mind if I show that real quick? It's just a half dozen photos. Sure. It's always good for a laugh, of course, because, well, you'll see. One of my favorite things ever when it comes to old streetcars. I think you know where a fella's headed with it. But I'll share mine real quick here, bud. And then we'll get to the cream of the crop.
Stop. No.
Pièce de résistance. Oui, monsieur.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
Horse drawn.
So, yeah, you got to get your, three small towns and a little hamlet. They shared their interurban streetcar tram system, whatever you want to call it, trolley system. But of course, they started off with horses pulling them, which is the dumbest thing ever. I mean, yeah, they're on tracks, but what if the horse just gets it into his own individual mind that I'm just going to bolt over this direction? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, would he not be able to pull this thing off the rails? Like, I don't know.
I wonder if they'd tip him over. Would they be? I don't think he could tip it over, could he?
I don't know. I mean, these things are metal frame, but generally wooden. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, they've got blinders on the feller, so this guy doesn't look too suspicious at all. He looks like he's totally on the up and up. This poor lady just wants to get to where she's going. You know, she's like, you fools, I've got to stop for your photo op. Get some street kids in there. I'm just trying to get to the farmer's market to get my tomatoes and pumpkins.
A long exposure time too, right? Come on, take the picture already.
Right? I got places to be. You hosers. Here's an action shot of it. The horse trotting along pulling this thing.
Are these from the region?
Yeah. These are
nice finds.
I think it says it here. You can't really read it, but there's another photo where it says right on the streetcar trolley. There you go. The Berlin and Waterloo Street Railway.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nice transition photo because here's your electric one. But in the back here, we still got Ted pulling the horse-drawn version.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
These guys are looking a little more official now. They get uniforms and badges on now. So we're your official streetcar guys, not like that sketchy guy a few photos back with the bowler hat on. Then they finally went to these larger, fancier ones. And then a closed-in portion for the conductor. But whoops, we had an accident because we're more high-tech, but now it's more dangerous.
Oh.
Tumbled right into the river. Whoopsie. It's not fun. Of course, you get your looky-loos gawking.
It looks like
There's
it's
a nice
on
shot of.
Cedar Street.
What's that?
You recognize the
It
area?
looks like it was at Cedar Street. Yeah.
I would
Oh,
imagine
there's the
this
building.
building is
The
probably
building.
still there.
Yeah, I think it is.
This is a vehicular / pedestrian / streetcar bridge. So I'm sure when they phased these out, they removed this portion, probably made this for pedestrians and then widened the street, I would guess.
Maybe that's in Preston.
Hmm.
I wonder.
So you can see as the cities / towns grew and the interurban system was more and more used, they went to these larger cars. And again, covered an area for the guy working the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually these more like the 1920s, the more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Hessler.
I think this is one of those train stations you may have shown in your photos, Ontario Explorer.
I didn't have the Hessler train station. I'm not sure if it's still up, actually. It's still there.
Yeah, well, once this was phased out, they probably knocked a lot of them down, right?
Yeah.
So this is the passenger car version of their trains, not their tram, trolley / streetcar now. This is a train. So they have passenger, but then also cargo. But instead of using the old boiler steam locomotive, they used, just for this local system, they used electric trains. They're really interesting. Use your cow catcher or plow or whatever in the front.
Cow catcher, yeah.
This is the Galt Preston and Hespeler Railway. So I thought that was really, really interesting that quite early on they were, using the electric system to haul cargo and passengers, as well as having their, their separate streetcar system.
Infrastructure. Well,
so
intact.
Infrastructure coming out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For such small cities and towns and hamlets, So there you go. There's my 2 cents. We're back on track now. Thanks for indulging me.
That was good. No, that was very interesting.
I got to show the horses pulling the streetcars because it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hopefully one day a technology will come along that will make these horses redundant in this situation.
Yeah, we'll just get this going, and then hopefully electric will catch up to our idea of streetcars, and then we just got to wire it up and away we go.
Even though I don't really know what electric is yet.
Yeah, and there's no possible way I could have that kind of foresight whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it's fine. So what have you got for us, buddy?
I just got a couple visuals, a little bit of the surrounding area, and some buildings I don't think we saw. So
okay, nice. Let's have a peekaboo.
Yeah, starting with, I think we saw this one, the Dixon School. Did you show this one, Ontario Explorer?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. All sorts of these structures in there. How about
with the detention center on top?
Yeah, that's where you go when you're bad, right?
Yeah. It's under construction now, apparently.
It's going to be a brew pub, right?
Yeah.
There's a hospital. I don't know. Did we get to this one?
Oh, no.
Nope.
Cambridge. I don't know what the name of the hospital was, but or if it still stands. Looks very similar to a lot of the buildings we saw.
Looks like it's missing a top to that one tower too, potentially as well.
Here, possibly, yeah.
Cambridge Hospital looks nothing like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
So not.
What flag? Any idea what flag that might be, Frankie? Hard to.
Ontario provincial flag. It's a blue flag with their coat of arms right in the middle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I should have known that.
Much like the Manitoba flag is red with their coat of arms in the middle. At least that's what it looked like.
I caught a glimpse of this in one of yours, Ontario Explorer. It must be a church, I assume.
Nice color like two-tone color usage there. Really, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, the red and the yellow. Just gonna let the dog in here. 1 sec.
Well, yeah, you got to let in Mr. Fluffy. It's cold and snowing and windy and winter out there.
The paws, right? They can't handle it on the paws.
Yeah.
Not for too long. Yeah, this one's weird too. That you don't see any. It looks to run down or shut down. There's a Remax sign down here. And real estate. That's a real estate company here, Canada.
Who knows? Maybe somebody will buy that up and turn it into a brew pub.
Brew
too late. Somebody already did on another place down the street. Sorry.
You could have a couple. There's more hipsters. Yeah, we saw this, but I thought it was interesting. Again, you can see the lower areas.
Lower row of windows stoned in, and then those arches right down under the surface of the water. Just redonkulous.
Yeah.
Pretty neat infrastructure in that area. Did you show this one? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Downtown. There was the library down the street.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
This is a
wow.
bank. You can see all these buildings are old worlders. Look at all the stone in the foreground.
Yeah, like that whole row on that street.
Bank of Montreal.
This one here?
Oh, that one was the old Bank of Montreal, I think.
Or Bank of Toronto.
Oh, Bank of Toronto, that one. On the Bank of Montreal is across the street, I think.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so that's the TD Bank. Yeah.
The old banking district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the financial district of of the Cambridge area.
We all have them.
Beautiful though.
Just a little shot of one of the buildings down there, just to give you a sense of the building materials, right?
Yeah.
Got to have some portals in it too. Sure.
Yeah. Amazingly ornately decorated box cornice. I got some of I think this is the creek to the north. I can't remember what it's called now. Creek and Waterfalls area.
Yeah, this is where that tower with the stone grinding mill would have been.
Not far from there, yeah. That's where
it's the same creek, anyways. I think, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting formations. In this area. More of that stonework underneath the rail supports here. Massive stones.
Get your donkey snorkels ready. Got to build a bridge.
Yeah. More of that industrial stone buildings.
Yeah, well, I can't remember which city/town it was before the smushing together in 73. Had a huge shoe factory. I think it was a shoe factory.
Yeah, I think that was.
So I think this is it.
In Preston.
Yeah, Preston Shoe Factory or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had they had the plow factory, the later hockey sticks, and then they had some kind of grain mill aside from the the old school
big
stone grinding.
Flour mill.
Yeah, flour mill, and then that shoe factory. So there was a lot going on.
Not exactly sure which part of Cambridge this is. Northwest. I can't remember the name of it, but again, you got the old and the new and the even newer, and then the newest looking worse than the old. And part of this situation here in the waterways,
Yeah, it's like a weir. Yeah.
Yeah, I always find those interesting, looking into some of these old world towns.
The Bow River here in Calgary has a weir like that.
Oh,
just
really?
Just before the confluence of the Bow and Elbow as you go into Inglewood by Fort Calgary.
Okay, interesting. Another angle.
Oh yes, this looks like it's Preston. So that's Riverside Park, I think, behind.
Okay. Back here.
And then
this is
a
weir
along King Street. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was
it is.
Interesting shot in here.
Yes, look at that. You can see right inside there.
The old rail.
Yeah, and then if you go along to the left of this is the entrance to Riverside Park, and then there used to be a repair shop for the trains.
So this might be leading to that.
Being there. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So yeah, the rail yard with the barns. Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
They probably, I think they had an old, I'm imagining, I didn't find one, but I would imagine that because they had their interurban streetcar and their separate rail systems as two different infrastructures, I imagine that they probably had a pretty good sized rail yard that had one of those train turntables as well.
Yeah.
Mm,
And then just
probably.
beyond that was those two big hotels, the Preston Springs and the other one.
I have got one of those hotels here. We have Hotel de Mont.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. You said there's several of them, right? There's at least 2?
There were 3.
3?
Yeah.
Wow. And is this linked up with the hot springs? Is it like a healing area?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was from what I remember looking into it, there was a hot springs and there was resorts or what have you, hotels. Yeah, this is probably one of them because it just looks the part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can get that sense of it for sure. Yeah.
It's very aesthetically pleasing. So it probably was an old world healing center built around the hot springs. That's interesting.
Another stone building, one of many we've seen here today. Yeah, very plentiful in this area. More of the interesting looking banks of the waterfall area makes me wonder about cataclysm and what may have been. Are we looking at possibly post-cataclysm structure or completely natural geology? We've got some churches in the background.
Yeah.
Very interesting infrastructure there. All I think in that similar region. I couldn't help but creep over into the Kitchener area as I was looking through Cambridge. So I had to be disciplined in my research a little bit with that. There's a lot right next door in Kitchener as well, right?
We could do Kitchener another time.
Look at the cupola on the top of that thing.
Look, an interesting shaped roof, and then the sort of curved opening with
that's unusual.
With the massive megalithic style blockwork here. I don't know where this would be. Maybe a part of, is there like a reservoir or something?
I think there's a reservoir. I don't know that spot. This does not look familiar.
Just an alleyway here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To me, looking again, very heat damaged. You can see openings bricked up here. Interesting materials here. Yeah. Not sure if we saw this one. Did we?
Is that the school that were built in sections or something?
School. No, it's a Dixon school.
This is Dixon? It is, okay.
Yes, that is Dixon, yeah.
Okay. And just another closer look.
That's a Fiddler's Green, yeah.
Yeah. And look at the quality of workmanship here.
Yeah, outstanding. And again, the curved corners, and done in stone, like, come on, man.
It almost feels Disney-esque to me, almost like it could be made out of styrofoam or something for a movie set. The way it's put together, it's amazing work.
Well, Ontario Explorers did say they film a lot of movies here, so
they do.
Maybe it is styrofoam. They're fooling us.
Maybe.
Styrofoam holds up real well in Canadian winters also, just like staff and plaster does.
All right.
Yeah, there's the hotel.
Yeah, and then a bunch of other buildings here.
Yeah.
So we saw it earlier in this direction, right? The same hotel. Cress, I think it is Cress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, really nice.
All the arches here too.
Yeah, huge arches.
It's like a pyramid in the middle. This is a nice, beautiful mansard style roof here. Yeah, old world for sure.
Those buildings are all gone now.
I believe it.
Yeah, they had to go. Too hard to explain for this small city or small town in this area, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but the castle that is a high school is fine to stay.
Makes complete sense, right?
Sure. But the Galt Hotel, that's got to go.
Yeah.
You can explain away we had to send our kids to school somewhere, but it's hard to explain. Tourists are coming to Galt so much that we have to build multiple hotels that are multiple stories. That's harder to explain. So those can go.
Nice looking
That's a cool
streetcar.
postcard.
Yeah.
See, a lot of infrastructure.
More of the stonework and some different light. I love that stuff. More of the stonework. Oh no, that's natural stonework, is it? Strange. A lot of this on the banks of the river I'm seeing there.
Yes.
Interesting stuff. Again, that the quality of craftsmanship. It's interesting to see the old and the new as well too, right? It's a glass box and fairy tale almost.
Probably took them just as long, if not longer, to build the glass box as it did the old world structure next to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe it. I do. I believe
They're
it.
building a condo about 3 or 4 blocks from where I am. Not a huge skyscraper condo, about 8 floors, a decent size. But they've been working on this thing for 3 years, and I think they'll be done the end of next summer. Not this summer coming, next summer.
Wow, 4 years.
So it's going to take them 4, almost 5 years to build this, 8-story condo complex.
Yeah.
But then they tell us the old buildings like this, 2 years, they bang that out. Really? In Canada with those harsh winters? Oh, no problem, bud. We'll just get her done, eh?
Yeah, we're just hardier folk. That's all. We're hardy.
Work hard, no safety standards. And, we're Canadians, so we're used to the cold winters, I guess. I don't know. Stupid.
Now, this is a Hotel Crest. It doesn't look like the same hotel that we saw, unless it's from the backside, but I don't remember seeing this. Could it be a different hotel? I don't know if it's the same one we saw. Let me actually, we'll do a compare and contrast. Ready? Let me see. Where is it? Here. Ready and go. Not the same hotel.
Not the same hotel. I think that the one you showed just before is the one that's along the side. This red building to the right.
Yeah, this is Del Monte. Yes, okay. Yeah. And there was a third hotel that we don't even have. Is that correct?
I believe, yes.
Yeah, we talked about this when we chatted a few weeks ago. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. There was another hotel, and there's no photos or anything. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you there.
No, it's okay.
And we're coming to the end. And usually when I do a lot of my videos, I end up finishing on a YMCA. So I got a Cambridge YMCA here. You recognize this one at all?
I don't recognize that building.
Wow.
Interesting.
No.
There are a lot of Cambridges. It can be confusing. There's one in Massachusetts and there's one in the UK. So that's sometimes the difficulty with the work we do is when you have these names that are found in multiple locations. But
yeah, that's right. Because we found that with Halifax, St. John's, a couple of others, I think, didn't we, Chris?
Yeah, it can be tricky. Victoria can be tricky.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's all I got. I think the real treat was the middle ground on this one, the local boots on the ground footage.
Local flavor, local photos, local footage. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really something special to have that. And hopefully we can do more of that. We can encourage people from wherever they live in Canada to kick our butts into doing a show on their region, and they can join us, just like you've done here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any suggestions for anywhere from coast to coast to coast in Canadian land that you want us to check out, absolutely. And if you're willing to, if you've done a bit of your own research and you're willing to come onto the show, we'd love to have you. Absolutely. Yeah. The more the merrier.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It had a different feel for sure. And I felt like more of a student than a presenter, watching. Yeah.
Got a couple of questions in the chat for you, Ontario Explorer. Where can we find you? Like, do you have a channel, or is it just something that you like to do in the background, a hobby of yours, and you watch other content? And
so this is the first for me to do a a live stream like this. I don't have a YouTube channel, but this was an experiment to see how it went, and it was fun. So I don't have anything like that at this time. I like to watch others for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple other favorites you want to share with the crowd here that you like to watch?
So like to watch Knuckleheads for sure, and found it through Lucius Aurelian.
Oh yeah,
watching his stuff.
Great channel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of both of our channels in terms of collaborations with Chris, and I've spoken to Lucius a couple of times, commented back and forth. Yeah,
an all-around
great
good
stuff.
man. He's a good man.
Great guy, great channel.
Yeah, definitely learn a lot from watching him. Yeah.
You know what? I have to say, and I think I can speak for everybody, that it's pretty tough to tell that you hadn't really done this before. I mean, I know a few weeks back, the three of us kind of met up and kind of chatted a little bit, but this is basically, I mean, you're live and you're doing this on the fly, and can't tell. It seems like you're an old pro.
You could probably get a job at CBC, live on the scene reporter.
Oh, for sure there, eh? Get some government funding from the CBC. Or the Knuckleheads Broadcasting Corporation too, you know.
That's right. Pays well.
Yes,
Pays well.
Yes.
It does?
What? You didn't know? I've been holding out on you, Frankie. I've been holding out on you.
Well, it definitely has been fun, and I would consider doing it again. So, you know, if you want,
we'll do that Kitchener one for sure. I think we should
Kitchener,
do that down the road.
Yeah. There's some really great buildings in Stratford, Ontario. Another one we were talking about was London. I went to university in London. Great buildings in London as well. So there's lots of little places around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I know that.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and it's certainly a treat. Absolutely. I was just going to say, I know that a lot of people have reached out and thrown Nelson, British Columbia, out there.
Yeah, that's worth a look.
They have a whole historic district.
Let's want to do that next?
Yeah, we could do Nelson, BC next for sure. I don't know. We seem to like to hop from east to west, back and forth, back and forth. We like to do the yo-yo thing here, eh?
Try to be fair. We're just trying to be fair to the entire country, you know.
Well, it's so bloody huge, for crying out loud. Got to try to get everybody in there. East, west, and smack dab in the middle, up north, down along the border, around the lakes.
All right, Frankie, let's wrap this thing up. It's almost 3 hours here. Let's wrap it up.
We're you know what's going on, and the guys are just having too much fun.
All right, we're having a good time. And
but yeah, probably time to wrap it up. It's a big ask for 3 hours for people.
I got to go grocery shopping here, so.
Yeah, you got to get some foodstuffs to get ready to throw into your eating hole, so it goes down your food tube.
So I think the kids are growing. The kids are growing.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got mouths to feed. I only have to worry about my brother, my roommate, and he can fend for himself. So there you go. On that note, I think that's going to do it. So thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us. Joining us on both channels, Old World Exploration and New West Reset. Thanks again to our very special guest, Ontario Explorer, for joining us. And thanks to everybody for your suggestions for the show, the Knuckleheads Show. Keep them coming. Links in the description of how you can get a hold of either myself or Chris. If you've got city or town in Canadian land that you want us to have a look at, and if you're local, you want to contribute, love to have you. So once again, thank you, Ontario Explorer. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you, everybody in the chat. Once again, appreciate all the support. And again, as a reminder, the best support is to like and share. Leave a couple of Knuckleheads a comment. Subscribe if you're new. And if you're already subscribed, maybe just check to make sure once in a while you're still subscribed. You know, YouTube shenanigans or whatnot. And thanks to everybody on Rumble. Again, links for everything below. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you again real soon. Cheers, everyone.
Take off, you hosers.
I think that was like our best show ever.